like you. Do you like me?
This week, the clunking fist of Gordon Brown was swinging in the direction of David Call Me Dave Cameron and missed by a large margin. The red mist descended during Prime Minister's questions as Cameron wiped the floor with our dark overlord, who started flailing out like a sore bear, or rather a stuck parrot, as all he could do to defend himself against the Tory leader's precision attacks was to desperately repeat some old cobblers that amounted to, "Well, I know you are, but what am I?" The whole thing looked like a car crash in slow motion. A car crashing into a pet shop and taking the parrot out with it. The glum faces on the Labour benches behind him reflected the realisation that they've dumped the leader who could have ridden all this out with a joke, or a disdainful wave of the hand, or an emotional plea to trust him. The same kind of feeling that washed over the Tories after they got rid of Margaret Thatcher. That stomach-sinking notion that you've ditched a winner and climbed aboard a hopeless old nag mid-race. Worse than not being believed, worse than not being liked, they've gone with a leader who doesn't appear to have a funny bone in his body. In the media age, Tony Blair got by with a warm quip. He could disable any argument with a joke at the Inquisitor's expense. Gordon Brown, on the other hand, couldn't crack a joke if his life depended on it. And politically speaking, it does. Crazy Russian Premier Vlad the Insaner has no such problems. Wildly popular in his home country, he celebrated his 55th birthday with a march past of 10,000 Kremlin-created Nazi youths in red and black shirts. Those keen on the History Channel might recognise this. Nazi sounds like Nazi. But there the likeness ends. The Nazis were a demonic organisation bent on world domination who disposed of its critics with great vengeance and ruled by a crazy dictator. So no similarity there, then. Happy birthday, Vlad. Fully in support of all of your, whatever it is that you do. And don't offer me any sushi.
I wonder how he's celebrating.
I don't know, by, invading a satellite Soviet state, perhaps. Pulling back that which once was his, which I think is the reason why he's so popular over there in the first place. Clawing back all of that stuff that the oligarchs nicked, basically the oil and the mineral rights and, all of that stuff. All those oligarchs who came over here and bought Kensington,
yeah.
Those people. The reason why all of those posh estate agents in all of the expensive areas of town, over £1,000 a square foot, the reason that all of those people, well, you call them up, they'd speak to you in Russian. They're all Russian now. It's really bizarre. In the 70s they were all Arab speaking. Now they're all Russian speaking. I swear, you go into an estate agent in Mayfair, Kensington, Belgravia, anywhere like that, I guarantee there'll be Russian people in there. Because these are the people with all the money now.
Are they the reason I can't get on the property ladder?
Yeah, well, that's right, yeah. One of the reasons that you can't get on the property ladder, yes, that's exactly right, yeah.
Right.
And quite shortly, they'll all be Indian, immediately followed by Chinese.
Right. Why have they all got more money than us, though?
That's an excellent point. I think all of the people that are British that have money left here a good long while ago. They're all living in a council accommodation in Monaco. Those hideous flats that populate Monaco. Monaco's about the size of this studio. And there's, I think it's the most populated country per square foot in the world.
What, those horrible flats that overlook the marina?
Yeah, hideous.
Oh,
that's right,
yes.
yeah. Like, nobody in their right mind would want to live there for any other reason than to save gigantic amounts of money. It looks awful. I mean, I can't think of any coastal region that looks quite as bad as that.
Would you want to become a tax exile?
I can only dream of becoming a tax exile.
Okay. Right.
I barely earn enough to pay tax.
Well, the great thing is...
let alone avoid it.
The great thing is about being a tax exile is that
like
you're kind of forced to go abroad for a few months a year, aren't you?
Yeah, like on being on permanent holiday, like Phil Collins.
Yeah.
You go and buy a bit of Switzerland, and then yodel a hee-hoo for the rest of your life. And like Mick Jagger, you come here, but you have to set your stopwatch. This is probably why all those expensive watches have got stopwatch facilities on them, because I think you're only allowed to be here for 90 days to the second.
Is that all it is?
Something like that. Otherwise you start having to pay tax in this country, and that would be severely deleterious to their economic well-being.
Yeah, but if someone turns around to you and says, yeah, your 90 days is up, can you hop on a plane to, another country, you'd be like, Yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't mind.
No, of course not, because you'd have 5 different homes in other places with a better view and better weather.
Of course.
I recently went on holiday to Espagne and to Paris, where a lot of people are drinking pints of. Well, they're trying their best to drink pints of British beer, but they're probably being served that French muck.
Well,
We just won over there. Can you believe it? I bow to no one in my disinterest of rugby. Wrong-shaped ball. The guys have all got comedy ears. It's really quite. It's quite bizarre that the football players all look pretty. Have you noticed that? All football players look pretty these days. They all look like top modus. That's right. And they all look like, you know, they've moisturised and they've gone to the very latest emporia to get, you know, kitted out from top to toe. Some of them are still wearing the tie with a great big fat knot. You've got to get over that, boys.
They all do that, don't they?
We've moved on. That's right. But other than that, they look fantastic, footballers. As soon as they open their mouths, it's, well, you know, it's like that. There's not a thought in their heads.
They all want to be David Beckham, but that's it, isn't it? You know, they all think, oh, if we look after our looks, you know, and we play great football, then, you know, maybe some big advertising company's going to pick us and, you know, splash our faces and pay us millions to advertise their product.
Well, that's a good point. Yes, absolutely right. Rugby players, on the other hand, look like they'd been beaten almost to death with the ugly stick. I have never seen a collection of ears that look quite like that with the rugby people that have been interviewed on TV just lately. They look like... Well, major surgery would need to be undertaken there to bring you back to look like a human being.
I don't understand how they actually get like that.
No,
is it just...
I think they're all punching each other in the ruck, or the whatever they call it.
But is it just because... I always thought, do they get their ears like that because they're rubbed against other people's bodies in the scrum?
Yeah, that's
right. Is that all it is?
Yeah, there's a lot of rubbing goes on in the scrum, yeah.
Right. It's surprising that rugby still actually takes place, seeing...
For health and safety reasons, yeah, you're right, yeah. But these rugby players, they look like, well, Neanderthals, let's be honest, and when they start speaking, it's all, oh, well, you know, of course, we're... No, they're all... Yeah, absolutely, to a man. They're all, they couldn't be more middle class if they were on sale in Waitrose.
It's a tough sport, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Isn't that what I just said?
Yeah, but
because I went to a comprehensive in Essex where we played football, where I skived playing football.
Right.
And then I went to a public school in Edinburgh where I skived playing rugby. They didn't do football at the public school in Edinburgh, only cricket and rugby.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cricket didn't take your fancy?
No, organised sports took my fancy. Me and the lads would go down to the basement of a cafe around the corner and do organised smoking. Oh. Yeah, we'd buy 1 cup of coffee, we'd sit there and nurse it for about 3 hours, feed the jukebox, play that funky music, White Boy, and, you know, David Bowie and punk records and all that, and smoke cigarettes and pretend that we were hard, rather than go out and get physical exercise.
And as a result of that skiving, your ears have stayed perfectly formed.
Yeah, pristine, yeah. I could be a top ear model, me.
Yes. Do you think those exist?
Ear models?
Yeah.
Yeah, almost certainly. I mean,
lady earrings and stuff like that.
Yeah, earrings, spectacle adverts. Yeah. I mean, people probably are chosen for the loveliness of their ears. Take your headphones off and show me your ears.
They're just normal.
Yeah, they are.
Just normal, everyday ears.
Petite and pert.
Yeah, but the good thing is about small...
He's getting excited about his own ears.
No, but the good thing is about small ears is that,
yes,
because your ears and your nose will grow.
We're looking at 10 inches.
All your life.
Huge nose.
They don't stop growing all your life, basically.
Ears.
So if you start off with little small ears, then when you get to like 70...
Then you'll look normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll grow into your looks.
I bet you can't wait.
Can't wait.
But really, rugby, I'm pleased that they won, of course, and I might, now that they're in the final, I'll be a latter-day fan. I might actually give it a quick peek, as long as it's not on Saturday, which is my heavy day. You wouldn't believe the day that I've had. I woke up at 6 o'clock. I've done a 4-hour show at another place playing rock and roll. 4 hours before I got here. 3 hours commuting. I only worked this out today.
Yeah. 3
hours commuting. A 4-hour show before I get here, and I've been up since 6. Am I tired? Oh no.
That's almost like a proper working day.
Shut up. That's way more than a working day.
No
one in the history of radio has worked as hard as I do. And that's actually true.
It's like a normal person's working day, that is.
Well, no, it isn't. Because a normal person's working day is supposedly 8 hours long, of which you work for about 3.
Is that
be honest.
Is that including your hour lunch? And is it 2 15-minute breaks? Is it law that you've got to take a 15-minute break every 3 hours? Is that correct?
Well, if it is, then I'm breaking the law on a regular basis. Like Judas Priest, I'm breaking the law.
Breaking the law.
Yeah.
I've
Worst video ever, by the way. Judas Priest. They're breaking the law. It's laugh out loud hilarious.
Thanks for the warning. But that's what I've heard. 15-minute breaks every 3 hours, so...
Really?
Yeah, probably about, yeah.
But your average office worker doesn't work 8 hours a day. They're there for 8 hours a day, physically. Mentally, they're off in cloud cuckoo land. They're off in, la-la land. Like that, staring out the window, looking up their profile on My Facebook, the hell it's called.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is worth more now than British Airways. Isn't that incredible?
Is it?
Yeah, some 12-year-old in his underwear has, in his laptop, in his bedroom, has come up with My Facebook, and it's actually worth more than British Airways. That is just unbelievable. The whole world has gone insane.
That boy deserves a medal.
I think he's got quite enough.
All right.
He doesn't need anything from us.
Yes.
No, it's amazing. They just sold shares for something like £500 million worth of shares, which valued the company at I can't remember the exact billion amount, but at more £1 billion than British Airways is worth, which is just staggering. It's just a page in the ether. It doesn't even you can't even touch it.
It's not. Yeah.
It doesn't make any money either.
Is it because it's of the advertising space, of, the opportunities? Is that why it's valued so much?
It's potential, I think. It's two things. First of all, it's their potential, and second, it's valued so highly because nobody else in the business wants anybody else to get it, and so they start outbidding each other. In much the same way as all of these things that are popular with kids are being snapped up by evil media organisations. Google is still with the two founders, isn't they? They've just turned 13. They're worth £180 billion each. More money than they could buy Africa, basically.
Why would you give that up?
Huh?
Why would you give Google up, if you own it?
For money?
Yeah, but
I wouldn't think twice. I would make this decision in my sleep.
But it's your baby, you've created Google.
Who cares?
You spent, I don't know, 6 months developing it.
You and I, we've created this show. Somebody offered you, I'll be realistic. Somebody offered you threepence halfpenny for it. You'd take it in a second, right?
Oh, fair point.
What?
I'm cheap.
Yeah. Did you see Prime Minister's Questions this week?
No, but I heard it was a belter.
Oh. Well,
did you tape it?
Yes, I did. Yeah, because I knew that it was going to be a stormy scene, so I taped it, and then I enjoyed it at my leisure later. I Sky Plussed it, without mentioning any brand names. Other PVRs are available, and it was... it was exciting and embarrassing all at the same time. You were thrilled and on the edge of your seat while also wanting to hide behind the sofa because it was just awful. I mean, those boxing fights when you think, oh, please, ref, come in, just stop the fight because this is getting, this is inhuman. Oh, the humanity, you want to shout.
Was it bullying?
Somebody should chuck the towel in now. Well, yes and no. It's rounding on the bully. It's like the end of all of those Hollywood films where a child is bullied and bullied and bullied. Like the thing with the Karate Kid, right? He gets bullied a lot. I didn't actually see it, but I think that this is more or less the story.
Yeah.
Stop me if I'm spoiling it for you, but I think he gets bullied a lot, and then he goes to a karate teacher, who, it's not the grasshopper thing, that's something else, right? More or less. It's that kind of idea, grasshopper. And then he teaches him how to do karate, and then he knocks 7 bells out of the bully at the end of the film. Have I got that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, this is pretty much like that, but in on green leather.
But they were wearing suits.
Yeah. Badly fitting, probably smelly suits. Yes.
It's like your dad's going, your dad's having a yelling match.
But it was actually quite, PMQs, Prime Minister's Questions now, is a bit weird because the Leader of the Opposition gets a certain number of questions, and then he has to sit down and shut up.
Sure.
And then you get a lot of other silly questions from the back benches, you know, and from the Labour side it would be, would the Prime Minister agree with me that he is the most fragrant and wonderful person in the whole wide world?
Yes.
Well, of course the statistics prove that, and, you know, and on and on. And the Tory benches would try to get some silly point in, you know, make a joke and so on, the best of which was right at the beginning, where the guy invited him to his constituency to see the excellent recycling facilities that he had, and might Gordon Brown want to come and have a look at his bottle bank, which was received with much hilarity all round. I'm being shouted at already. I have to go to a break in order to come back.
Can I help you?
So, as I was saying, the Prime Minister's Questions is kind of odd now, because it used to be two 15-minute sessions. I believe it was on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think I've got that right. And then Tony Blair was famously very dismissive of Parliament and couldn't be bothered to show up twice in 1 week. So he said, well, I'll just do one, to much consternation all round. He said, all right, well, I'll give you half an hour.
Well, it meant he couldn't go abroad if he was there twice a week.
Yeah, exactly. So now we get, at the beginning, is the fireworks, the bit that you see on the news. Gordon Brown sits down. They're basically like Jack in the Boxes. They just bounce up and down for about 10 minutes, and the Leader of the Opposition, whoever that happens to be, will say, how dare he, doesn't he know that, under the Tory administration and all that, so and I have the statistics to prove it, and then Gordon Brown, or whoever might be there at the time, bounces up and says, oh, no, it's not. But that only lasts for the first half of the 15 minutes, and then everybody else, you know, the people that you've never heard of before, who've just reeled in drunk from lunch, just want to make themselves shown to TV viewers, you know, because it's the only part of the entire process of Parliament that is actually watched by anyone, or is attended by anyone. If you look at the BBC Parliament channel, you'll be the only person who does if you do. Then there's nobody in the House at all. All of these important debates that our future is resting on are attended by no one. What they're doing, no one has any idea. They're probably, interfering with the clothing of their secretaries, or choosing new wallpaper, selecting furniture from Harrods catalogues, that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's something better on the other channel, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Figuring out how to wangle more out of us on their expenses, you know, the usual. But what they don't do is show up in Parliament, which is where we expect them to be, or, you know, sitting there and farting into the ill-fitting suits and doing the work of governance. But that's not what they do at all. What they're actually doing, no one has got a clue. But sitting on the green leather is the last thing they're doing.
You see, it just seems like Prime Minister's Questions is just a tradition now, and it's very non-productive.
Completely, yeah. It's a total waste of time, but it's, every now and again, it's very amusing. And you can't do away with it, because they have to be accountable at some point. I mean, we do treat them as, we have to remember that these are our servants. We're paying for them, and we kind of forget that, and we put them on a pedestal, and we don't like to question them about anything, really, as though it's none of our business. Well, of course it is. And so they have to be held to account at some point, publicly. And so you can't get rid of this, but the thing is, it's, but because the fireworks are at the beginning, where the two leaders are shouting at each other and are trying, and occasionally, as was the case this week, failing to rein in their temper, because Gordon Brown totally lost it. He had the red mist. He would have got the red card if it had been football. If it had been rugby, of course, he'd have been, just cheered on, because rugby, I don't know about rugby. I'm not remotely interested in rugby, unless, as I said now, I'm a rainy day fan. I'll watch the final as long as it's not on Saturday. I haven't got any time to even sleep on a Saturday.
That makes you a Glory supporter.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just a silly game. You know, if I want to see a lot of guys on steroids hitting each other, then I'll go to the Old Kent Road at chucking out time. Now, how I got from Prime Minister's Question Time to the Old Kent Road, I've got no idea. You're going to have to write down every single topic that I speak about, and then, to the astonishment of all listeners, we'll make the trail back to where we started from at 1 o'clock in the morning, all right?
Oh, we'll try our best, anyway.
That should be your job, James, because you don't do anything.
Of course not.
But rugby's just... I don't get it. Why there aren't more... or any, in fact, people hauled up before the authorities about taking steroids in rugby. I have got no idea. How they're managing to get away with it is a mystery to me, because normal people don't come that large. You can't tell me that the players who are on show in the World Rugby Tournament, which is actually the World Steroid Tournament, are not on giant amounts of bull product, or however it is they get that stuff. No. And here's how I know. Yeah. Not only are they gigantically huge, I mean, only buildings come that big, but they all, and if you look at their faces, this is the key.
Right.
Men on steroids have square faces.
Okay.
If their faces are square, by which I mean Dan Dare square,
right,
they're on steroids. And I won't hear an argument against it.
How'd you come to that?
They just are. Well, because I used to go to a gym where steroids were
in use.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was the smallest person in that gym by a factor of about 10.
I used to be a member of a gym. But
I seriously doubt that. Did you ever go?
I did. I was a member for about 9 months, but it was too intimidating because there was all these big guys using the equipment. Yeah. You just felt like you were getting in their way.
Right, they'd bench press you.
Yes. That's what I was worried about.
But guys on steroids, and you can see the change when they start taking steroids. It changes the shape of their face. It really does. It broadens out their jaw, and it makes their head square. It also bulges out all their veins, such that and striates their muscles, so that you can see every part of their muscles, such that some of the men, you could actually see the striation of the muscles in their face, which was really weird. It looked like the, you know, those images that Da Vinci made of, and you know, various other illustrators when medicine was in its early years, of corpses flayed. In other words, the skin had been pulled off and you could see everything that was underneath.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they look like.
No.
Yeah, it's hideous. They look as though they're about to explode, like almost everybody that's on the that was been playing rugby in France this year. They're all on it.
I don't think so.
Not all of them, naturally, not all of them, but all of the ones who look like they're made from Lego.
A lot of them. There are naturally big people out there, and they just choose to go into rugby.
Sure,
I've seen them down my local pub.
Oh, bound to be, right.
So, should the drugs testers just go in with a set square then, rather than doing blood tests?
Yes, exactly right, yes. If your face has angles that are 90 degrees, you're guilty. Well, it's very exciting that they won, and England won as well. Interesting, by the way, the difference between rugby and England rugby and football supporters. Rugby supporters don't do flags.
When it comes to sport,
Abbot.
Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome, come on in.
Whetstone, hello, Peter. Deep silence all round. Have I done something wrong? Peter.
Hello.
Hello, Peter.
Sorry, who's this?
Press 1 if you want to speak to LBC.
Hello.
Hello, Peter. How are you?
I'm fine.
Great, mate.
Is that Nick?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I pushed the wrong button on my phone.
Never mind, eh?
How are you?
All right.
Good, good. I wonder if any of the listeners could help me out. I'm trying to find a taxi driver service run by ladies, because my daughter's at a party, and I'd sooner she was picked up by a lady driver.
Right.
And I'm not having much luck.
Wouldn't it be safe to get a black cab driver over there? I mean, you could write down his number and, you know.
I could try black cabs, yes. I'm fairly safe with black cabs, yeah.
Mind you, they start the ticket, they start the clock before they arrive, don't they? I think if you order them on the phone, it's even more wildly expensive than it is if you hail them in the street. I can't take black cabs anymore. Who can afford them anymore?
Yeah, well, I don't use a lot, but I mean, she's out in Pinner anyway, and I'm not sure there's too many cruising.
Pinner? Yeah.
Pinner.
I think you're fresh out of luck. Can't you go and get her?
I could, you know.
That's a no, isn't it?
Well, you know, it's quite a distance.
Well, I know that there are, there is such a thing, or at least there used to be, but I can't personally help you there.
No, but maybe one of the listeners can.
Right.
Because I'm sure they do exist.
Yeah.
I'm sure they do exist.
I don't know how we'd work this, though, because wouldn't that constitute advertising? Yeah, it would. So I don't think we'd be able to do it either. Have you got the pewter?
Yeah, yeah.
Have you tried to Google it?
I have, yeah.
No luck there, then?
Not really, no. So I thought of LB.
But the useful thing was that they told you how long it took for them to search the net for it and not come up with an answer. 0.14 seconds. Yeah. Why do they do that, by the way? What is the point of showing you on Google how long it's taken them to search for a completely useless page of information?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I think they're just showing off. I'm no help whatsoever, Peter.
Well, I thought it was worth a try, anyway.
I suppose so, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks anyway. Cheers. Good luck. All right.
Someone might ring in.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Ta-da.
Cheers.
Yeah, no, I can't remember the last time I got into a black cab. I can't imagine ever being that well off again.
What, you just opt for the bus?
Yeah, the bus and the tube and driving myself in. I mean, it's cheaper to actually buy a car and insure it than it is to get into a black cab these days. Particularly if you're in Heathrow. I mean, have you got any idea how much it costs to get a black cab from Heathrow? Tourists must fall down in a dead faint because it's the natural thing. You're a tourist. You get out in the airport. You don't know. You haven't read the guides. There isn't. You haven't read the thing that says
Warning! Warning!
Don't get in a black cab at Heathrow because it'll take all the money that you have in the world.
Surely that's you know, wrongful advertising, because claiming Heathrow is a London airport, even though it's not exactly in London.
It's nowhere near. I mean, it's not even close.
I mean, well, they even claim Luton, London Luton.
That's just laugh out loud funny.
You know, what's that all about? Who came with that?
And I'll say this again, just in case anybody missed it. You write this down. I'm correct about this. Whoever decided that Heathrow should be the main airport for London is a dope, and here's why. Because all planes have to get in a good long line before they reach Heathrow, right? And they have to fly into the prevailing wind. I think I've got that right.
Yes.
The prevailing wind is from the west. Therefore, if they have to get in a long line to get to an airport that is in the west, that means they've got to fly over the entirety of London. If they'd put the airport in the east, they'd just be flying over marshes and people who live in Essex, and no one cares about them. Hi, Louise.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
I'm all right.
Good, good. About the rugby players and the football players.
Yeah.
I think that rugby's seen as a man's sport, so that's why they all look like they're going to knock out each other.
Yes.
And obviously they have to have that build to sort of get that power. But I think sometimes footballers, they look after themselves because if they're like, they know that they can sell themselves, basically. I think.
Plus, I'm sure it's all very competitive. Well, I've heard that this is true. In the dressing room, they all compete to see who's got the poshest wash bag and who's got the nicest shirt and all of that sort of stuff. And they all want to look their very best because, you know, their financial future depends on it. Because it is a very short span, a short window of attack that they have and to make all of their money. Rugby players, on the other hand, have an education behind them, so at least they have something to fall back on.
You'd think it'd be the other way around, wouldn't you? I mean, the way that they speak and the way that they're educated.
Yeah, they don't. The two look. They don't look like they sound. No, rugby players sound awfully posh and look like Neanderthals. Football players is completely the other way around.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And the Prime Minister...
Unless you're Wayne Rooney, in which case you've got both.
Yeah, he could, like, take his pick.
Exactly, yeah.
And the Prime Minister's question time, I don't like it, it's too scripted. That's the thing with it now.
Well, it is all a con, because he knows what questions are going to be asked in the first place. Apart from, I think, what the Tory leader is going to shout at him. I think he gets the first question, and then the follow-ups, I believe, are off the cuff, which is where Tony Blair was so very successful, because all he needed to do was flash his gap-toothed smile, and you just go along with him, and we did for 10 years. Gordon, on the other hand, well, nobody wants to see his gap-toothed smile.
He's scary.
He is a little bit scary. Yeah.
They could probably say that I don't want to speak about whatever, and they'd probably let them do that.
Well, I don't want to speak about it.
Yeah.
As an answer to a question in Prime Minister's Questions.
No, before they go on, they could probably say, let's not talk about tax. I don't know, let's not talk about that issue. And I don't think
so. No, but it was actually, it was high comedy, and I can't wait till the next one now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that you were saying as well about being cruel, it's always been like that, though, hasn't it? It's always been like, sort of like a fight, like...
Well, that's the nature of public debate, yes. This is what these people have been practising ever since they were in school. You see, most of the people in school, people like you and me, Louise, were around the bike sheds, interfering with each other's clothing and having a fag. These people, on the other hand, were all in the debating society, which, as any fool know, is... boring! That's right. It's the old phrase is show business for ugly people, and that's exactly what it is. And there are some sights on the benches of the House of Commons when Prime Minister's because none of these people you've ever seen before, right? And they've never troubled television in their lives, which is one of the reasons they're all standing up, desperate to ask a question, because they want some television face time.
Yeah. I mean, it's designed to be like a battlefield, isn't it?
Yeah.
Apparently there's two lines that they stand behind, and if they cross over, it's like they want to fight with each other. Because if you hold two swords at either side or something silly like that, they touch each other. I don't know.
Oh, right.
But that's where it was all sort of set up.
Right. But same time, same channel, like they used to say at the end of Batman. I can't wait.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Louise.
Thanks, Nick.
Cheers, my dear. Ta-da.
Bye.
Here is Docklands. It's Jessica.
Hello, Nick.
Jessica.
You know what gets me about the airports? I mean, I was just saying, it's not just about where they say they are and they mislead you.
Yeah.
I mean, they do that all over the place, especially sort of in Europe, mostly. In Europe, they're really bad for that kind of thing.
All those cheap flights.
Yeah, they'll call it Verona, and it's an hour and a half outside of Verona, or something like that. But up in Sheffield, they've got an airport called Robin Hood Airport.
Huh.
Now, Robin Hood would make me think that it would be in Nottingham, obviously.
Yeah, pretty close.
They don't even know where it is. They don't even just call it Sheffield. They call it Doncaster, Sheffield. But it's actually miles away from Sheffield.
How many flights on a weekly basis go into Robin Hood Airport?
Well,
I can't imagine there's any.
I think they kind of do sort of to Ireland and a couple of maybe Zurich or something like that. But it's a tiny airport. That's why I would never travel from it.
Sheffield, Zurich.
Yes.
That can't be a well-flown route.
No, I don't think so. But the tinier the airport, the more insecure I am about getting on the plane.
Well...
I don't mind the hustle and bustle. It makes me feel that,
What, taking your shoes off and being wanded?
Well, no, you have to do that everywhere. When it's just a tiny airport with a tiny runway, you just have you really got enough room to get kind of up and down there?
So it's not security considerations, it's just the physical ability of the plane to leave the ground.
And also they're calling it Robin Hood, which is sort of a trivial name to call an airport. It's not serious.
Well, Liverpool have got John Lennon Airport, haven't they?
Well, you see, that's stupid.
Well, that's
because,
ridiculous.
Without being horrible, John Lennon got shot. That's going to make you think about guns and terrorists just before you get on a plane. I wouldn't fly from there for that reason.
Right. Okay. And Bradford has got Osama Bin Airport.
Yeah, I've been from that airport. That's quite a sort of kind of toy town airport as well.
Bradford has an airport?
Yes, it does.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, Leeds Bradford Airport.
Actually, I've been to Leeds Airport. I'm sure I have.
Mm-hmm.
I like those provincial airports because there's nobody there for a start, and you get straight through. It's like going through an airport in wherever you go on holiday. Coming back, you need to check in almost 10 minutes before the plane leaves the ground. You go to Heathrow, on the other hand, it's 6 weeks you have to sit in the departure lounge.
Or you get the opposite, though, Nick. They're so kind of not used to having customers that when they do come across one, they give them sort of a hard time just to kill time.
Right.
I have been from sort of Leeds Airport and just down to London, because they fly down to London into City Airport. And that's a nice airport, City Airport.
Is it?
Yeah, but at Leeds Airport, they did sort of stop me and ask me questions that were unnecessary, really. I think they were just looking for a chat.
Yeah. Seriously, what is the point of flying from Leeds to London? It takes 3 hours in the car. It would take you more than that to check in.
You know something? You haven't driven on the M1 for quite a while if you think it only takes 3 hours to get from sort of Leeds to...
Well, when I was working in Leeds, I used to come down to London on a regular basis, and that wasn't that many years ago.
Yeah,
3
well,
hours.
I've claimed this before, but you couldn't do it now. There's lots of roadworks and lots of problems.
Right.
But I've only flown it once, but it was a nice flight. It was fine, you know. Anyway, there you go. That's my airport.
Thanks a lot, Jessica.
Bye then.
Cheers, my dear. Ta-da. I've recently come through an airport, having just been away, and the one thing that does occur to me every time I see my luggage disappear on the little carousel, and I was relatively lucky because they weigh your luggage now, of course, and if you're above a certain amount, I think they cut slices off it, or just remove an item of their choosing, or something like that, or they charge you the entire cost of the trip again.
They give you quite a lot of allowance, though, don't they?
I was about 1 gram under what it should have been, both the going and coming. In fact, I think my suitcase, despite the fact that it had exactly the same in it was a different weight coming back than it was going. I think that thing is fixed.
How does that work?
I've got no idea. How are you supposed to weigh your luggage, by the way? I mean, I know they say on the ticket that you can only have, whatever it is, 20 kilograms, 30 kilograms, something like that. How are you supposed to know what that is?
Well, the thing is, I think that's quite a lot of luggage anyway, and so...
It isn't. It's surprisingly a small amount. You could lift it up with your little finger.
Well, usually, because of, you know, whenever we go abroad here, you know, it's always somewhere hot and sunny, so all you're taking is shorts and T-shirts, and they weigh hardly anything.
Right, well, I'm not a light traveller. I have to take a lot of everything. I usually come back with an entire suitcase of clean clothes. None of, you know, I almost wear nothing that I take over, because I take over such a gigantic amount. Because you have to have something for everything. You have to have something for the cool evening, something in case it rains, something in case it gets cold, which it sometimes does, even in hot places at night. You have to have 2 pairs of everything in case you get really hot and you have to change twice a day. And already I'm up to 5 suitcases.
Oh my God!
I'm like Posh Spice when I go on holiday. It's like army manoeuvres when I go away.
Wow. No, I think you're kind of going overboard there.
But the one thing that does occur to me every time your case leaves you is that, or that you're waiting on the carousel for a case to come out. I need to get right at the front of the carousel to see the suitcases come out of the hole, because I know that someone's going to pick my suitcase up, because, of course, my suitcase looks exactly like everybody else's suitcase. Everyone's got the same 2 or 3 cases.
Well, it's not really policed, is it? It's everyone for themselves.
That's right, and, you know, people are usually drunk, having taken advantage of all of that on-board hospitality, and so they'll just pick up something that looks more or less like their suitcase, and this happened to me in a club once. I had a backpack. It's very, it was actually quite disturbing.
A backpack in a nightclub?
Well, you know...
It's a bit suspicious.
Well, not a giant backpack. It wasn't an army Bergen, but, you know, it was, what do you call them? A backpack.
Rucksack.
Yeah, rucksack, exactly. Yeah, which had all my gym kit in.
Right.
A perfectly innocent pack containing a slightly damp towel, a pair of swimming shorts, my cosy, and I don't know, crack pipe, you know, that
slippers.
Yeah, the essentials. Yeah. And so, come to the end of the evening, after you know, a quiet evening spent listening to some relaxing music, I pick up my backpack and I thought, well, this is a bit heavy. I open it up and I kid you not, the first thing that I pulled out was a full leather head mask.
No.
With 2 eyes and a flap with studs for the mouth. I'm not kidding.
What sort of club was it?
The rest of the bag contained the rest of that outfit. It was an entire leather S&M domination kit with
Someone would have been very disappointed with your gym kit.
They would have been furious.
Steve Allen, he's losing his mind.
Well, it's not called John Lewis in Reading. It's called Abbot.
Well, let's get back to it.
So I'm thinking about my luggage coming through the thing and other people picking it up. And so I think that what you should actually do, and I haven't done this yet, but what I've always intended to do was to mark it in some way to distinguish it my luggage that looks exactly the same as everybody else's luggage. It's all Samsonite, right? Everyone's got a Samsonite suitcase.
Are they the plastic ones?
They're either plastic or they're a cloth, and I've got one of each.
Oh, very fancy.
Double jeopardy. And so I'm thinking you should mark it out in some way to delineate it from everybody else's.
I don't...
But...
Yes.
Not in such a way as it would attract attention when you're going through customs.
So, what's a subtle way of marking your bag?
I haven't come up with one yet, because I want to put, you can get those strips of tape which say caution or warning or do not cross or something like that, just to plaster it on, because who cares about what the outside of luggage looks like, unless you're Elton John.
I do.
Or you.
Well, the thing is, luggage, it's not cheap, is it? And so, you don't want to, like, buy a new case and then graffiti it, just so you don't...
where are you shopping? Louis Vuitton?
No, but, you don't want to, like, mark it.
It doesn't make any difference.
Little
when you were a
pink
kid at
ribbons
school,
to
didn't you write the names of your favourite bands on your gym bag kit?
Yeah,
gym kit bag.
Yeah, because at school I didn't know any better.
Which bands were they? I bet these were really embarrassing. Oh, cool. Let's have a list of these.
No,
now.
I don't know.
Bay City Rollers.
Before my time.
Are they?
Yeah.
What was Depeche Mode?
What?
Something like that. Something dreadful like that, I bet.
Anyway, we're not talking about that anyway.
I think I've hit a sore point there.
But, when you see people's bags on the carousel, and, they've tied pink ribbons to them, and, stuck big labels on them saying,
exactly
don't
right.
touch and all that. It just looks trashy.
Yeah, but who cares about trashy, as long as you get what's yours? I mean, you don't want to be walking home with a full leather S&M regalia, do you?
Yeah, but, I mean, how...
They wouldn't let me take it away, by the way. The club, when I said, excuse me, this isn't mine. They said, oh, you better leave that here, because the guy who's that is, there's about £1,000 worth of perverted kit in this bag. He says he'll be very upset. Like you said, James, he'll be furious, in fact. All he got was a damp towel and a pair of Speedos.
But...
You don't get much after-hours fun with that.
Well, but... How stupid have you got to be not to recognise your own luggage without marking it?
Probably off his face, wasn't he?
Maybe. But don't you agree?
After 50 years of the drugs policy, it's been a tremendous success. No one is taking drugs in this country. Isn't that right? How is the war on drugs going, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
Here is Temple Fortune. Hello, Linda.
Hello.
Linda.
I wanted to tell you the way that you should weigh luggage, which I only found out after the way that I did it the wrong way.
Yeah.
The way that you're supposed to, it's so obvious, my sister told me, most people have a scales. I don't have scales that you weigh your body, but you get on the scales and weigh yourself, and then you hold the case somehow, or you drag the case onto the scales, and then you take away your body weight from the case weight.
Yeah, that's a simple maths equation.
Because there are these funny things that used to get me hanging on hooks, but they don't work. But what I did, because I don't have a scales and I was too stupid to think of that anyway, is I thought I'd go to the chemist. And it's quite a funny story, because I should have schlepped the case all the way up the road. And me and the chemist and the assistant, there was a problem getting it on the scales. And anyway, I managed to, I weighed myself, and then I managed to put the case on. But the scales not only gave the weight, but it also gave body mass index. Strange things, and blood pressure and everything.
Of your case?
Well, no, what happened was it gave the weight, and then there was a speaking voice that said that the case was obese, and it had very high blood pressure.
I wouldn't take it on holiday with you. It could collapse at any minute.
Yes, it actually gave the body mass index of the case. So anyway, what you do is most people have scales, and that's what you do.
Right. Well, I don't have scales, Linda, because why would anybody want to weigh themselves?
No, I agree with you. But it's if you go away quite a lot, it's worth having it.
I suppose so.
In order to weigh a case, because some airlines, like Ryanair, as you said, we had to take everything out and repack it and everything else, and some other airlines actually don't even care about the weight, and you can take as much as you like.
Right. Well,
When I go Al, they don't care how much you take. You see people dragging these vast amounts.
You fly El Al?
Yes, I'm just saying...
How early do you get to the airport? About, 3 months?
About 5 years before. And I'm saying some airlines are very scrupulous.
Yes. But none more so than El Al.
No, about the weight.
Oh, right.
No, they're scrupulous about other things, but you know, that you can take all sorts of things. You know, you know, so, as I said, some airlines, as you said, they get mad if you're out over another airline. But anyway, so you need to get a scale.
I'll get a set of scales, definitely. All right, thanks a lot, Linda.
Bye.
Cheers, Maria. Ta-ra. And don't, my tip when you're flying with El Al is, don't crack jokes to the security personnel. You will not be getting on the plane.
A full head of hair.
Everything is going extremely well.
You bet it is. Here is Chelmsford. Hello, Owen.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks.
A couple of bits. I've spent years flying in and out of airports. I did it 3 times a week. I was going in and out of airports. But going back to your Sheffield Robin Hood Airport,
you must have you must glow in the dark. You have so much radiation.
Yeah, well, I've been scanned for having explosives on me so many times. They do that little swab where they check your laptop to see if you've got any explosives on you. I've had that done at Stansted and Heathrow hundreds of times, literally.
I bet you now, as a experienced frequent flyer, always wear slip-ons, right?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. That's the one. Yeah, and remember not to carry the metal pens and bits. They get a bit funny carrying a Parker pen. I've had trouble.
Really?
With a couple of airlines. It's ridiculous.
And you know the shoes thing is all because of that giant curly-headed bearded nut job with the exploding sandals. Thanks to him, we all have to take our shoes off at airports now.
It's stupid, and going to the States is the worst for it all.
Yeah.
You go out there and it's hassle the whole way. You have to be checked in. You get checked in at the States. They take your ID. They check you. They register you as coming in. It's everything. It's great. Even if you do it frequently, they still do the same every single time.
I've yet to experience that. I haven't flown to America since all that happened. But that they're giving stuff away over there, that the dollar is so cheap, it does tempt you.
Yeah, I wish the euro was doing as well, but there we go. There we go. Right, Robin Hood Airport, near Sheffield. Everyone associates Robin Hood with Nottingham, but he wasn't from Nottingham, was he? He was Sherwood Forest, which is between Worksop and Sheffield.
Right.
So that's why they called it.
It was the sheriff of Nottingham.
Yes, it was the sheriff of Nottingham. That's where that all came from.
And I'm right about that. It is good flying from those tiny little airports, isn't it?
It is. I've flown from Norwich. In the good old days, I flew from Southend to Jersey a couple of times. I've done a lot of littler airports. It's quick, it's hassle-free. You don't have to check in 2 hours beforehand. The security is, in a funny sort of way, even tighter. They're more thorough at the littler airport.
Well, they've got less to do, haven't they?
Less to do. I've flown Cork. I used to work in Southern Ireland. I flew out of Cork twice a week. And over there, they were thorough as anything. They only had 3 gates, but they were everything. They check everything. Every single person, they check your hand luggage. They x-ray it and check it. But there you go.
And a little bit of hassle makes you feel much more comfortable on board.
It does. I just wish that some of the planes were as good as the security, but there you go. There are some dodgy airlines out there.
Right. None of which we'll name right now, but thanks a lot,
Of course not. All right. Speak to you soon.
Cheers, ta-ra.
Thanks, bye.
Yeah, the thing with the small airports is the food, though. I mean, if you show up a little while beforehand, and I'll include Gatwick in this, it was rubbish. I mean, laugh out loud, comically bad.
Why is that?
Food in airports. I mean, unless there's, and I hate to mention them by name, but pret-a-manger. Unless there's a Pret in the airport lounge, take a sandwich.
Right.
I mean it.
Well,
I love the airport that I went to in I think it was one of the Greek islands. They wanted to be like a normal airport, so they had a carousel, but it was so microscopically small an airport that the carousel was, and I am not making this up, 10 foot long. A man put the suitcase on one end, it went 10 foot, and then fell off the other. That was it. So you've been watching The Sopranos. It's on E4 More 4, E4 More 4, one of those.
I'm going through too many box sets at the moment to start The Sopranos as well.
Right. Oh, that's right. You haven't watched them at all yet.
Well, I have. It's just that The Sopranos I just haven't got round to yet.
Okay.
Would you recommend it?
Oh, it's just the best thing that's ever been on television.
Really?
Isn't that right, James?
I've only seen the first one.
Oh, good grief.
Better than The West Wing.
I've never seen West Wing, but yes, it is. I can say that with confidence.
And do you have to be a fan of gangsters?
No.
Oh.
It's got nothing to do with that, really. I mean, every now and again there is a little bit of violence, but it's the threat of violence that's the thing. It's the tension that builds up to the violence, which often never happens. Just the tension of will it. That's the thing that keeps you on the edge of your seat. But if you don't have E4 More 4, my recommendation is cut yourself off, switch the lights off, and sit in a darkened room until they show it on Channel 4. I don't know why they're playing around with us like this. They should have shown the whole thing on Channel 4 about 6 months ago when they showed it in America, because anybody with access to the internet is going to know what happened in the end anyway.
Sure.
And the guy who writes the TV column for The Sun just told us what happened in last week's episode, which, of course, you won't have seen unless you have E4 or More 4, whichever channel it's on. And that's going to happen right up until the end. I promise you, every newspaper and commentator will be desperate, just itching to tell you what happens in the last episode before they show it, which is why I had to watch it all before, you know, when it came out in America.
But that's really odd, though, because, hang on, they show it on E4 or More 4 first?
Yeah.
And then show it on Channel 4. But surely Channel 4 is their, like, flagship channel?
Premium channel, yeah.
You know, what...
It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, it's this cute way of trying to push you into watching their less frequently watched sister stations. But I think it's actually just playing with the audience. Why don't you just give us what we want?
Yeah, but well, I thought they'd want most of the audience on Channel 4.
You think so, yeah.
You know, because
that's where the advertising is, yeah.
They want to compete with the big boys like BBC One and ITV.
Yeah, rather than dissipate their audience. Because by the time it gets around to Channel 4, everybody will have seen it already.
And also, it's not as if they're getting money or subscriptions from E4, More 4, are they? No, it's free, isn't it, on digital?
Right, yeah, that's right. In fact, it costs them a lot of money to put those channels on the Sky satellite dish, I'm sure. Or the Virgin wires, or wherever it is.
Yeah, and
I'm sure it actually costs them money.
It's just poking fun of people who haven't got digital channels, isn't it?
Poking fun.
It is a bit, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, talking of television... Sorry,
there's no room on Channel 4, it's all Big Brother. We don't have time for it.
You know what? I've got no idea what's on ordinary TV channel. I am so far removed from what's on television now, as is anybody with a PVR, Sky Plus.
Yeah.
If anybody has got that, you've got no idea what's on television anymore because you never watch anything live. The whole concept of streamed channels that you have to watch what they show when they show it is dead in the water.
I think that's why all the mainstream channels now just show pretty much a load of rubbish. Because they know this. They know that people are recording it and watching it on their Sky Plus. And so, you know, why bother, you know, investing, you know, thousands and thousands on, you know, big budget programmes when, you know, people aren't just going to watch them, sit down and watch them at the time they're going to broadcast
That's a very interesting... I'd never thought about it like that. Good grief, you've actually said something, smart.
I knew I could do it.
Huh, I think you've struck something there. Yes, we're in a period of transition from the linear mode of delivering television to the concept of a library. Now, we haven't got to the library yet. You can't just go to the BBC and pick out anything that has ever been made or put on by the BBC and watch it at any time. Not yet. But it's about to become that way, absolutely. And to the point that almost television channels themselves will shortly cease to exist. I'm fairly certain of that. Within 20 years, people will think how ridiculous it was that television companies put out this a line of one program, followed another program, followed another program. How silly! Why don't you just go to a library of everything that's ever been made? And just select what you want when you want to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that, as I said, we're in a period of transition between what we've got now and what we'll have then. And at that point, the concept of television channels will seem silly because the people who make television programs will be selling them directly to the public as subscription or individual program buys. You go to iTunes. I don't really bother much with iTunes. In fact, I've never bought anything from them, but I didn't realise that they're actually selling television programs there now. You can buy South Park, costs you £1.89.
Can you?
Yeah, you can buy a lot of American television programs. That Sarah Silverman thing that's new on one of the channels now. Unfortunately, it's another unfunny comedy program. Like, we need another one of those. But that costs £1.89 as well. As does every television program I think that's ever been made is up on iTunes for £1.89 each, which is absolutely the way forward. You know, Madonna, speaking of, the media, let's get sidetracked into the media for a second. She's just about to ditch her record company and go to a company that puts on shows, a promotions company.
Right.
Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't.
She's, Madonna, she's 49 years old. She's just about to sign a $120 million deal by leaving Warner Brothers, who've been releasing all of her, her excellent records over the last few years.
Boring!
She's going to a company called Live Nation Incorporated, a concert promotion giant, as part of a new 10-year contract. This is part of this whole 360-degree thing that the record industry is desperately trying to get going with artists. Robbie Williams was the first one they did, which is basically that we'll buy you. Rather than any records that you release in the future, because nobody's buying them anymore, because people have grown up with the notion that anything that's on the internet is free, which is kind of destructive, really, to the entire creative process. Because if everything is actually free, why would anybody who has a creative bone in their body make it? If people are just going to nick it, I mean, can you think of anything else that's actually like that? Like if you made T-shirts, for instance, or if you made statuary and sold them in an art shop, and people just would wander in from the street and say, oh, I like that, and they just picked it up off the plinth and walked out with it, outraged at the notion that you would actually have to pay for it. I mean, that's actually what's happening with music now. People have got used to the idea that it doesn't cost anything, you can just take it. Well, you know, if I was a musician, and that was people's attitude, why would I sweat blood in a studio that I had to pay for? And, and studios cost an enormous amount of money. They're thousands of pounds an hour, for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, whatever it is, and pour my heart into a product that then people insisted I gave them, rather than bought.
Do you think the music industry is shutting down then? Are they closing their doors?
Well, they've had to, they've more or less had to accept this state of being, which is actually quite shocking. I mean,
it's too big, really, isn't it, to stop it? The state it's in.
Yes, people have got used very quickly to the notion that anything that's on the internet is, by definition, free. Which is actually insane and completely, I can't think of any other word but deleterious. What a dreadful word. I couldn't think of anything else to say. It's deleterious to the industry and the
it's just impossible.
And the advancement of art.
It's just impossible to police. It's, it's available all over the world. How do you police that?
Well, interesting that you should say that, because the band Radiohead, of course, famously this week, have just asked people to police themselves. They put their new album on the worldwide weight and invited people to pay what they think it's worth.
Right.
And people can literally pay nothing. You can select the amount 0, and you will get it for that amount.
So they've made approximately a £5?
No, I think they've made, in the space of a week, something like £4 million, because they've had 1 million hits, something of that order, and the average that people are spending is £4. So you work it out.
Wow.
So in a case, in the space of, it's not even a week, it's just a matter of days, they've made at least £4 million, which is pretty good work if you can get it, right?
Yeah, not too bad.
So that's really the way things are going, that people will make things and sell them directly to their audience.
Is this what Madonna's doing then?
Well, Madonna is taking the easy way out. She wants the money up front, I think, and then she's going to provide the product later.
Right.
But what I'm thinking of is that she's signed with a concert promotions giant. She's promised them, according to this article, she's promised them 3 studio albums and concert tours and selling her name. This is part of this, what they call a 360-degree deal. In other words, we'll buy you as a person, and everything to do with you we own. The T-shirts, the key rings, the mugs, all of that stuff is ours, and we'll give you the money up front.
I thought that's what record companies did.
No, record companies are almost like banks. They loan you the money to provide the product, but you owe them for the photography, the publicity, the limos to take you from the studio and back, the studio time, the instruments, all of that stuff, which is why people can have hit records and what is on the surface a successful career and still have no money, because the record company is still asking them to pay back all the money that they've laid out. I mean, you make a video and it can cost you £250,000. You have to sell a lot of records to make back £250,000. So people who are famous and at the top of the hit parade can actually be struggling to afford the bus fare.
But if they'd have taken the bus instead of a limo in the first place, then maybe they wouldn't be in that position.
Given the choice, which would you have? Of course.
Clive Bull on London's biggest conversation. Nick and Abbot.
Here are the studio calls flashing up on the indicator.
Right, let's take some of these. They've been waiting a dog's age. Reigate. Hello, David.
Hello, Nick.
David.
Baggage, travelling. I travel quite a lot, and I always have a little bit of thick wool, which I put at the end of the handle, and that's easily identifiable. You know, you wait, you see it come through on the belt, and you see it straight away. But there are so many cases these days that are exactly the same. And I went to, about 3 years ago, I went to Bangkok, and I was sitting next to a gentleman, and we got talking. He was going to the same destination as me, and I got my case at the airport, and he picked up what he thought was his case. We got about 120 miles south of the airport. I had a drink with him, and I had to go to. I went to his room, and he said, "God, you know," he said, "I've got the wrong case." And he made some inquiries to the airport, and his case went as far north as he was south. And of course, he took a day or so to sort of exchange it. But so many cases are the same, and not many people do mark them. And I think it's a very good idea.
But as I said, I would want to mark it, and I take what you say about sticking the piece of wool on the handle, but I would be worried that it would get ripped off, because they're not that gentle with cases.
I've actually I've got it right on the bed now, and it's like a bit of elastic wool, actually.
Elastic wool?
On this particular bag, we've got several bags that we use on different trips, and we've got something on each, and I find it very, very easy to sort of, pick them out.
Right.
But
okay.
I'll tell you what, we're going back to airlines and things these days. You know, they have to, they try and sort of be as punctual as they can. The latest dodge I found, the last 4 times I've left my home airport, Gatwick, we've left the stand on time, but due to ATC, we waited somewhere else about 35 minutes before we've been allowed to take off. But that, in actual fact, would count as a right time departure because it left the stand on schedule.
Right, that sounds like one of these hooky government target excuses. Yeah, we'll see you in accident emergency within an hour. And at 59 minutes, they'll push you out into the corridor, as I've said before. This actually happens so that you're not in accident and emergency anymore. And then they'll push you back in, and then you wait for another hour.
Yeah, and I tell you one thing. I go to quite a few of the continental airports, and German ones in particular. I used Cologne last week. And,
don't tell me. Efficient.
Plenty of loads of room there. I mean, in fact, you can't see the next person. There's so much room. But when you go to the London Heathrow or Gatwick, it's absolutely,
it's a living hell.
It is, and you spend far more time going through the security, and waiting at the airport, then you're actually on the flight. Now, when you go to America, they want to know the address you're staying at.
Yeah.
If you don't have an address, well, then they make it rather difficult
You're
for you.
fresh
But
out of
I'm
luck.
sure.
Right.
I mean, I know where I'm going, but a lot of people, go to a particular place and rent a car for about 2 weeks and drive all over. They don't know where they're going to stay. I used to do that. I used to drive about 2 hours, and when I got tired, I'd stop somewhere.
Right. Well, in answer to the question, where you will be staying, I don't know, really. It doesn't cut much mustard these days, right?
No, that's right, yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot, David.
Yes.
Happy landings. I would like to mark my luggage, but as I said, I don't want to attract the attention of the customs people, because despite the fact that I never actually bring anything that you shouldn't in, I always feel guilty, because it doesn't matter whether you haven't got anything. If they pick you out, it's the last thing you want, because you're just inches away from freedom, aren't you? The other side of those gates is where everybody's standing there holding a sign.
Yeah.
Mr. Wellington. They'll hold a sign.
Yeah.
They'll all come to the car, and you're out. You're free from the airport. And you can get called back just at the very last minute. It's like mental torture, right? And they can go through everything. They can have you stripped down. They can have you on your hands and knees and invite you to relax.
The thing what I worry about is not necessarily just being stopped. That that's fine if they want to have a look. That's fine. As long as I'm not in a rush. But it's when they kind of walk past you with the dog, and I'm just, that dog's ready to pounce at any time, and you could have sat in something which he doesn't like. You've been, just flown across the world, and you've sat in a seat that millions of other people have sat in.
Yeah, which is a disgusting thought on its own.
Exactly, and
particularly with this bed bug infestation that we've got currently in this country.
Exactly, and you could have sat in traces of God knows what, and so if the dog,
Been to Germany, it could have been Furter juice.
That dog's going to have your ankles right there and then.
Well, I don't think it actually bites you if it's got anything on you. I think it sits down. I think they're called passive dogs.
Okay. I thought they jump on you and bark at you.
Rip your face off.
Yeah.
No, it's a sign that it doesn't like you. No, I think they just sit down. Yeah. Well, coming back from Amsterdam one time, the guy in this full military regalia had this dog, and I, of course, being drunk at the time, put my hand down right into the dog's face. Oh, little doggy, I thought. and the dog didn't do anything. And of course, the guy in the military regalia, he didn't believe that, and so he yanked the dog away from me, up the corridor away, and had the dog do me again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very suspicious. Coming back from Amsterdam.
Want to score some pot?
But of course, there was not a thing on me. Why? Clean and pristine.
Did the guard think you were trying to? Befriend the dog.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. Because I think it's the last thing that you would expect as a reaction from somebody trying to make friends with a guard dog in Heathrow.
Yeah, fair point. But do you think
I felt like a fool?
But if anyone was smuggling anything into the country, would they mark their luggage anyway?
Yeah, I suppose not. Or it could be a double.
Double bluff.
Yes, exactly.
Good point.
But whenever I'm going through customs, I always like to strike up a conversation with whoever I'm going through, even if it's about nothing, just to adopt the air of casualness. Because if you go through looking concerned, as I'm sure I would, then you're more likely to get caught. Although that might be a sign for them. Anybody who looks as though they're trying to adopt an air of casualness.
Yes.
I hated saying it the first time I did, and it came out again. I'm sure that'd be a sign for them, but I can't help it. I just feel so guilty, even though I'm not actually doing anything.
Yeah, I'm sure they're aware of, people feel guilty, and so they're looking for the ones that ain't.
Right. Where are we? 11:25. Am I past a break? Are we taking a break? No? Here's Surbiton. Hello, Paul.
Oh, Nick, good morning to you.
Hey, Paul.
Oh, good evening. Excuse me, I'm just a bit euphoric after the rugby. Don't know if you follow that, but...
Before you go?
Uh-huh. No, I'm saying a bit euphoric after the rugby. England won the rugby.
Oh, I see. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, we're in the World Cup final.
You don't sound euphoric, but anyway.
No, I'm just sort of coming down.
Oh, I see.
Have you got to? Got the finals to come. Music.
Music?
You were talking about music. I think it's good that we hopefully are going to go back to more live music rather than, pan music, recorded music.
Yeah.
The more live music, the better, as long as the prices are realistic. You know, some of the prices that have been quoted for, some reunion concerts are crazy.
Well, the Eagles, a colleague of mine over at the other place where I play a lot of...
Rock and roll!
He went over to California to talk to the Eagles this week because they have a new double album that's coming out. I didn't know about this. I knew they had something coming out, but they're going to be releasing a double album.
Yes.
He's heard it, has little Nicky Horn, and he says that it's might be the best thing they've ever done. Better than Hotel California. I just couldn't believe that.
Are they going to play that live as well, or?
Well, I have no idea, and even after the concert, I will have no idea. Neither will anybody else who's listening to this show, because no one can afford to go. They're going to be playing a small venue at the O2 Centre, not the main arena, but a small theatre there. And as you probably know, this week they've said what the price of the tickets will be.
Oh,
nigh on £1,000 each.
It's crazy, Nick. It's crazy. Music should be, when I was a kid, I used to go along. Okay, some of the acts weren't brilliant, but the fact is, it was live. It was sung with passion, and they put the energy in. Okay, it was unencumbered by sort of consideration to any kind of advanced musical technique sometimes, but the fact is, it was, you've got the Sex Pistols, who were supposed to be anti-music in inverted commas, charging £80 a ticket. Where's the existential paradox in that?
Well, I think they charged £80 a ticket for what?
Yeah, in Brixton they're doing the reunion tour.
80?
Yeah, 80. Yeah.
Not for everybody, surely. Is that some VIP package?
No. That was pretty well standard ticket.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. But yeah, it's the heritage
in the space of the whole idea of when they set up music should be accessible and all the rest of it.
Well, that was 1977. It's
fair enough.
30 years later, all those heritage acts, they certainly are cashing in. But you know why they're doing it? It's because they can. It's because people are still paying.
Do they need the money, or because they can? Or is
there's no end of. I don't think there's ever such a thing as enough. I mean, unless you have billions. But even at that point, I don't think there's such a thing as enough, because there'll always be somebody with a little bit more money who can outbid you on whatever yacht that you've got your eye on. So I don't believe there's ever such a time that you'll have enough. Anyway, the news is on the way, and I've got to go. But thanks a lot, Paul. All right.
Bye-bye.
This is LBC. I'm Nick Abbott, and I'll be coming out of the new news, which will be full of ecstatic French people.
At wix.co.uk.
Say a few words. Thank you.
What I meant to say was unecstatic Frenchmen. Small word, big difference. They're all very upset over there, I'm sure. And the Eurostar, which is an excellent service, by the way, costs too much, unless they're advertising with us, in which case it's tremendous value for money. But that's going to be heaving. By the way, the people that were reporting on television were almost all using the same place to report from, and I had lunch adjacent to it. And if you're going to Paris, you absolutely must go. It's brilliant. It's got to be one of the best terraces to have lunch and munchin in the whole wide world. It's outside the Musée de l'Homme. If you look on the TV where they do their reports in front of the Eiffel Tower, they're standing on what looks like checkered marble, and the Eiffel Tower is in the distance, but they look like they're standing on a raised platform, which is exactly what they're doing. The Musée de l'Homme, the Museum of Man, is shut at the moment, I think, but its restaurant is open. You can sit out on the terrace there, in almost exactly the same place that they're filming their little reports from. and it's absolutely tremendous. It's got to be one of the best, not necessarily for the food, which is all right, but one of the best places to have lunch I think I've ever sat in. It was great.
Yeah, TV News always does that. They always choose the same location as the other channel, don't they?
Well, you know, I'm sure that they all know each other, and they're all competing with each other, but they're all mates, you know, because they all flit from one organisation to the other, and they haven't got a single thought in their tiny little minds between them, so they all flock together like birds of a feather.
They all want to go for the same angles, you know, and you think they want to be a little bit different, but they don't. They just, they think, oh, you know, they're filming over there, you know, let's go and set up right next to them because they've obviously got a good spot.
Speaking of BBC News, by the way, I cough my porridge up on a daily basis at the BBC Breakfast News. That irritating gnome that does the sports. Oh, good grief.
You know there are other channels available in the morning, don't you?
I know, and I try them all, some of which are excellent and much less irritating. There's one called Euro News, which is great because there aren't any presenters.
What?
Think of how fantastic that is. No presenters, just the reports. So all the irritating things in the middle, those giggling, grinning dopes in the studio, they're all cut out completely, and you just get the actual reports back to back. Fantastic. It's called Euro News. It's up the dial just a bit from Sky. And then you get Al Jazeera, which, and it's not a criminal offence to say this, is an excellent TV channel, and gives you all of the news from you know, parts of the world that don't get covered at all, because everybody's you know, in this country is busy doing ridiculous things like reports on. Oh, this morning it was. So I just want to leap through the TV set and throttle this guy.
Yeah.
Everything about him is annoying. He presents the sports, but they've got it in their minds that he's a personality.
Right.
In fact, all of the people who present BBC News at the moment think that they're personalities, and, more to the point, comedians. Here's the news. Here is the news. You're not. At all. If you don't even try to be funny, because it's just so annoying for a news person to break ranks and try to make us laugh like they're comics.
I think what it is you know, they're not supposed to be, but they want to get into presenting, I think.
Right. Don't defend them. Shut up.
No, honestly, they're trying to show their personality because
well, they don't have any because they're newsreaders.
No, I know, but
by definition.
But they're in denial. Because they think, oh,
well, somebody should throw them in denial.
I want to become the next Terry Wogan or you know, someone like that.
It's not going to happen. And so they get this gnome who does the sports on the BBC Breakfast News to dress up and do all sorts of comic turns as a sports person.
Right.
And today they had him doing. He said, "Oh, this ice hockey team invited me to go along and see what it's like to play ice hockey." And I'm shouting at the TV, "No, they didn't. You asked them if you could go." Like they called him up and said, "Would you like to come down?" And so we got all the usual comic shots of him getting crushed between two ice hockey players. And here's him falling over on the ice. It's just pathetic. It's so annoying. Damn, he's irritating. So I wish they would cut that out. I really do. It would make my morning such a more pleasant place to be.
Yeah, but if it wasn't him doing it, you know it'd be someone else. So
actually, more irritating than that is if you flip up the dial, and just before you get to Al Jazeera, you get to the American version of Sky News, which is much more rabid and right-wing, because they're not, they don't have the sort of censorship that we have in this country.
Right.
We think we have free speech in this country, but actually we don't. It's a thin veneer of free speech, but it doesn't go very far. In America, you can say pretty much anything you like, and the result is Fox News, which is the most rabidly right-wing news station you've ever seen in your life, and the most popular man on that station is a guy called Bill O'Reilly.
Right.
Who... he beats the sports gnome on the BBC for irritation. He shouts everybody down. What? He gets a lot of guests on his programme. He doesn't let any of them get a word in edgeways. He just shouts them down.
What time's he on?
All times of the day and night. Because he's so popular, they just stick him on a lot, I think.
That's one for the Sky Pluses.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. Take your heart medication before you do it, believe me. Here's Belsize Park. Hello, Judy.
Hello.
Judy.
You were talking about the weights of suitcases.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, you were talking to my sister about it.
Oh, yeah.
About an hour ago. I've always thought that we should be given an allowance, obviously, a weight allowance, because the plane can only take so much.
The plane.
But I think it should be the combined weight of the passenger and their luggage.
Yes.
What do you think? I've been putting this thought around for years and years and years, because the luggage weight is 20 kilos, which is about just over 3 stone.
Right.
So I think if you combine that with what would an average person's weight be?
In this country, 20 stone.
Great. Well, I only weigh 8 stone, so therefore I could take a ton of luggage.
You weigh 8 stone. You're practically a snack you could eat between meals without ruining your appetite.
But I could think how much luggage I could. I'm always overweight with my luggage, and I think it's not fair because I sit maybe next to a 20-stone man on the plane, and he's got the same luggage allowance as me, and that can't be right.
Right. Well, one thing to keep in mind, Judy.
Stop whining.
But don't you think it's fair?
Well, yes and no.
Oh.
And I hope that that's clear.
Well, I mean, if we know there is a fixed amount of weight that the plane will carry...
But what's a fat person supposed to do? I mean, suppose that they have something wrong...
That's their problem. Not my problem.
Suppose they've got something wrong with their glands.
Oh, that's different.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah, but in general...
I mean, their clothes weigh more because it's got more material, right? Well, so their suitcases are going to weigh more as well.
The other way that's very unfair is babies need tons and tons of stuff for them, and they're not given a weight allowance at all.
No, there should be some sort of noise allowance.
Yeah, possibly.
It should be a combination of weight and irritation.
Well, I sit very quietly. I don't speak.
Right.
Can I help you out also, if you've got time, about reclaiming your luggage?
Yeah, go on.
I know I'm old, but I can remember flying where they would give you a ticket when you check your luggage in.
Oh, they do that?
That had a number on.
Yeah, they do that.
And then there'd be a nice man that had the luggage at the other end.
Oh, they don't do that.
Had to hand your ticket in to get your case.
No, not anymore.
Oh.
They do give you the ticket, but you have to go and rummage around for your case.
Yeah, but it doesn't have any security then, does it?
No, none at all. Which is why I want to rush through the immigration part and get straight to the carousel.
Yeah, because anybody can pinch your case and disappear with it.
Yeah, that's right. And carousel, by the way, makes it sound like a lot more fun than it actually is.
It goes round and round.
Yeah, it does, yeah. And then you go to, because you're desperate to go to the loo, because you didn't want to go in the plane, because I don't know about you, but every time I go to the toilet in the plane, I think it's going to crash, because I'm not paying attention anymore. You know, if I get up and start wandering around, I think, oh my God, we're actually going to go smash into the side of a mountain, because I'm not sitting down paying attention anymore.
I thought that was just me. I tell you what I can't do. At the back of the plane is usually where the loo is, and I've got this feeling if I dare go in there, it's going to fall off with me in it, and the rest of the plane will continue on.
Absolutely. I do feel like the toilet isn't nailed to the plane quite as securely as it could be, and because it seems much louder in there.
It could just detach itself and disappear forever.
What a way to go.
I'm not very good at flying, I'm afraid.
And so you immediately seek out the toilet in the carousel area. And this happened to me when I came back from Espagne. And you go to the far end of the airport where people aren't. It's like this, tumbrils, or what do you call those things in the Wild West? I can never think of the name of these things. Tumbleweeds are, drifting across the savannah. And then, and right there in the middle of the floor, between two carousels, will be one lonely suitcase, all on its own, with no one around it. And you think, oh, no, that's so sad. Somebody's out there without their head-to-toe S&M gear. Yeah, for whatever they might have packed. All the essentials.
I heard about your backpack before. Are you sure it wasn't yours?
I would have remembered packing that, Judy. All right, thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you.
Ta-ta.
Bye.
I was going to say something else there, but I've completely forgotten what it is. So I'll just wait. I'll just throw in a giant silence for you to make up a story of your own. Here's Derbyshire. Hello, Alan.
Hello?
Alan.
Actually, it's David. I borrowed my mate's phone.
Right.
I have. Right, and basically, a couple of my mates going to New York in about over a week's time. And they want to... Alan. They want to go and see, go to the theatre, and they haven't got a clue which one to go and see. Now, I've got a small list of things to see what you think. There's Grease, The Lion King.
Right, don't see that.
A Bronx Tale. Hairspray.
A Bronx Tale?
Yeah.
That's a film. Is it a show now?
I presume so, yeah.
Okay.
That's one of them that was on the list. Spam-A-Lot. And How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Now, there's another one here which I can't specifically pronounce properly, so I don't know if you'll have a clue.
Do it.
Las Mister... No, I can't pronounce it.
Say it.
Las Misperadli. What? Or over like that.
What?
Something like that.
It's the what?
Les Mis!
Say it, David, or I'll kill you.
No, I've not got a clue. Don't know how to pronounce it at all. So, we'll leave that one out anyway.
I would go to that one. I would march straight up to the box office and ask for 4 tickets to or whatever it is you just tried to say.
Right.
Yeah, definitely that one, all right.
Not any of the others at all?
No, absolutely not, no.
Right.
You must order that one. Do it on the phone. I double dare you.
Right.
Here is Mayfair. Hello, Adam. Oh, Adam. Oh, no, I haven't pressed him right. There you go. Hello, Adam.
I thought you were going to a break. How are you, okay?
I am all right, thanks.
So, can you imagine Trafalgar Square tonight? Parties galore. England in the World Cup final.
Yes.
I'm going to go next week on the off chance. I know you're a star from that final whistle tonight. I put their tickets up, probably. They were waiting for that final whistle straight onto their computers. Can you imagine?
I would get on there right now, because I think it will probably be booked solid.
I've actually tried, and it's completely jammed the line.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I mean, the restaurants, the hotels... It's great. I don't know how good it is economically for the country for... I remember last time England got to the World Cup final, and there was a feel-good factor. I mean, merchandise went up, and... You've got to win the damn thing, though, haven't you? It's no good getting there and being losers, but...
Isn't it interesting, though, by the way, that rugby and football is almost diametrically opposite in the actions of their fans? If England was in the final of the World Cup, you wouldn't be able to move without seeing England flags. They'd be on every white van in the country. They'd be
hanging
out the windows. I haven't seen one single one.
If that had been England-France in the World Cup semi-final tonight, you're right, it would have been, the taxis would have had them and they'd have been in shop windows, but it's strange. I'm a big football fan, but I like the rugby and the Six Nations in particular, because when you travel to these places, everybody mixes, win or lose, and you have a good time.
If it's rugby. Football, on the other hand, people will be pulling up pavement stones and throwing them at each other.
Well, it happened, didn't it, when they lost to Germany years ago in Trafalgar Square and all over, it just went crazy. I'm delighted England are there, don't get me wrong. I mean, to beat Australia and the host nation on the way.
Was it actually a good game? Because apparently only one... I've got no interest in rugby at all, but only one try was scored. That seems a bit weak to me.
It is, and there's obviously... The main engine is Johnny Wilkinson, but I've got £50 on. I took a bet at the beginning of the World Cup, 25 to 1, so I'm going to win 2,300, hopefully.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think 10% of that's mine, isn't it?
Some people took 50 to 1. I mean, the prices, I should have taken, they were great. There's a lot of money the bookies are going to pay out, if England win this thing.
Well, coulda, woulda, shoulda, Adam. I should have bought Northern Rock shares when they were virtually giving them away. Yeah. And now I'd be a millionaire.
You should try and get an advertising stint in the World Cup final, for LBC or something. I think they did last time when there was a big event on. They did have something on I remember it was at the Millennium Stadium. One of those computerised boards.
All right. Well,
LBC Best Chat in London or something, but it was successful anyway.
LBC Fancy a Little Chit Chat, something like that.
Hey, that sounds good, doesn't it? Flashing lights behind the posts as Johnny's about to take the kick, and he's put off by the LBC Chit Chat.
A little hot chit chat action. Yeah.
So you're going to be watching it, are you, or not?
What day is it on?
It's on next Saturday, 8 p.m.
Saturday? Oh no. No, I'll be working, mate. Oh, well.
You know how many listeners you're going to have to your show?
None.
You're honest.
Yeah, thanks, Adam.
Take care.
London's LBC is bringing you the legendary Jules Holland to the Royal Albert Hall on Friday, November the 30th, and Saturday the 1st of December. And your final chance to win tickets to see Jules and the Rhythm and Blues Orchestra, together with the special guests, excuse me, Lulu, Ruby Turner, and all, is with James Bryan. James O'Brien. I'll start this again.
Who's Luli?
Luli. I could feel my throat going, and I thought, I'm not going to get to the end of it. I think that's why my brain got scrambled. Do you know something?
What?
London's LBC is bringing the legendary Jules Holland to the Royal Albert Hall on Friday, November the 30th, and Saturday, the 1st of December. Your final chance to win tickets to see Jules and the Rhythm and Blues Orchestra, together with special guests Lulu and Ruby Turner, is with James O'Brien. Monday morning, from 10. That's Jules Holland and his Rhythm and Blues Band at the Royal Albert Hall, with London's LBC 97.3. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Right, so what are we doing?
We're doing this shocking statistic that almost half of 6-year-olds will be unable to write a letter to Santa this Christmas, a report has revealed this week. Teachers say that the progress of British kids in their first year of primary school lags far behind the rest of the world. This is after 10 years of education, remember. Giant amounts of our money, they might as well set fire to it.
Right.
1 in 7 6-year-olds struggle to write their own name, or say the letters of the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
I bet you they...
He sat to...
I know how this one goes.
When I started that, the look on your face, you were thrilled you wanted to join in so much.
No, I wasn't going to join in on the alphabet.
Oh, I see, right.
Although I do know the next letter, but I was just going to say... that the kids, you know, they probably won't want to write to Santa, but I bet you they could email him.
Yeah, they probably want to stab him and nick his toys.
Happy slap Santa.
Yeah. 1 in 7 struggle to write their own name or say the letters of the alphabet. In fact, it used to be A-B-C-D-E-F-G-H.
J.
No.
Oh.
I.
J.
J.
K.
No.
L.
K, L, M, N. Moi. That's what they say in Hollywood. Moi, N. O, P.
I hope someone tunes in just at this very moment.
What's Q? K, K?
K. You just be K.
K, R, S, T, V, W, W, W. What's W? W.
W.
X?
X.
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 Is it?
X.
Y? What's Y? Z.
Yeah. God, that was a long process.
Good grief. Anyway, a third failed to recognise simple words like dog, pen, red, or Les Miserables. Here's Hertfordshire. Hello, Harry.
Hello, Nick.
I mean, it's just the word miserable.
Yeah.
Yes, Harry.
They'll be texting Santa.
Yeah, they probably will. Yeah, you're right.
I just thought I'd call because I heard one of your callers pondering which show to go and see. I think he was going to Broadway.
Yeah.
And he wanted a choice of show. And my recommendation to him would actually be to look off Broadway at one of the smaller theatres and to steer clear of all of the big shows which are just full of special effects and people from reality television shows.
Right.
And I went today actually to the Bridewell Theatre in London. I don't know, there's a show which actually Steve Allen was talking about earlier in the week called Abbot, which is a musical based on Swan Lake. And the Bridewell is basically a 130-seater. And the show kind of just works because of the story, because of the songs, without anyone, you know, purporting to be a celebrity in it, without any glitzy special effects.
Sounds terrible. What's this theatre?
The Bridewell Theatre.
Where's that?
It's off Fleet Street. It's near Blackfriars. And I think if your caller is just looking for a good quality musical, I think you should go off Broadway to one of the smaller theatres. Then you can really get up, you know, close and see the expressions on the actors' faces. Often it's not mic'd, and often the emphasis on the quality of the actual musical rather than, you know, special effects.
Well, some of the best things that have ever been started off. What would we call off? But Fringe, I suppose.
Fringe
theatre. Yeah.
absolutely. And there's always...
I mean, a Rocky Horror Show started above a pub, didn't it?
Oh, completely. Absolutely. I think that was at the Royal Court. And the Bridewell, which is where this musical based on Swan Lake is on at the moment, that was actually where, about 5 or 6 years ago, they put the first ever show on to have been written many years ago by Stephen Sondheim, who went on to write, the lyrics for West Side Story and Sweeney Todd and lots of things. So I'd really say...
Oh, so pretty.
Well,
pretty and witty
and gay, as she goes on to say, which you cut off just at that moment.
Yeah.
So that's all I think I'd recommend. Just look beyond the big Broadway lights. And often, I mean, like, the tickets are £15, and compared to something like £60 in the West End.
Yeah.
It's a bargain. I'm sure it's the same is true off-Broadway. You can go and see something where, the performers are, wonderful, don't need amplification.
And you're feeling like you're breaking new ground.
Absolutely, and you're just up close, and even if you're in the back row, you're as far away as the front row in most West End or Broadway theatres.
And the people on stage can actually see you personally.
Absolutely.
Which is where your whole argument breaks down, because if you leave halfway through, they can see you doing it.
Absolutely, but hey, at least you're not performing. It's even worse, I guess, if you were performing, you watch someone. Watch someone leave, but you're free to leave if you want.
Well, I suppose so, but it is embarrassing. I was at the Edinburgh Fringe once, and I've said this on the air before, but I had to actually walk across the stage to leave. It was so bad. I mean, it was a microscopic venue, and the door was behind the stage, so I had to walk past, literally brush the performers out the way to get out. It was so bad.
Strategically, you should try and work out when you go in.
I think I'm going to feign a heart attack next time. Anyway, Harry, I'm past the break. I've got to go. Cheers, mate.
Okay.
Ta-da. LBC. At home. Here's the Rhonda. Hello, Rob.
Oh, you're joking. Knee starts in a minute.
Shall I put you back on hold?
If you would, darling.
He's so picky. Greenwich. Hello, Sarah.
Oh, the news starts in a minute.
Oh, shall I put you on hold?
Nah, I only want to say a few things quickly.
Go on, then.
I'm not that bothered, really. I've forgotten. Rugby was really, really good. Did you see it? No, you probably didn't.
No, I didn't,
Really, really good, though. It was amazing.
Was it, honestly?
Honest to God, I thought if it wasn't the semi-finals, I probably wouldn't have watched. Okay, next thing.
Yeah.
Loopy George?
Who?
Looney George, even, not Loopy. That was a bit rude.
Looney George?
Yeah.
Who's that?
The guy who rings up sometimes. Wants to be like Mayor of London, take over the world kind of thing. Ask Chris.
Chris? Anyway.
Yes?
It's all right. I'll ask you later. My throat's going. Yes, Sarah?
Anyway, he was on another radio station, and like a big one, and he was talking to someone really, really famous, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say who.
Who?
Russell Brand.
Right.
Isn't that really cool?
No. Next.
No, that's it.
That's it? Well, it's a good job I didn't put you on hold and take you after the news, eh? That was weak! Anyway, you enjoyed the rugby, eh?
Yeah, and I want a cheap holiday. Where should I go? Just a few days, just to get
A cheap
out.
holiday in other people's misery?
All by myself.
A cheap holiday. Well, go to, cheap. I'll tell you what. Here's an excellent piece of advice, and I don't often help people. I'm starting to help people. I want you to note this down, Chris. Put it on the log. I'm helping now. Call up Carol McGiffin tomorrow, because she does an excellent holiday clinic. Carol is sounding fantastic these days. Everyone should listen to Carol McGiffin. I love her. I love her more.
I love her more than you love her more.
She starts at 11 o'clock tomorrow. She does a holiday thing. She's great. She's probably right now on the
booze,
but she'll be freshly sober by 11 o'clock tomorrow, I bet.
Yeah. For a long time.
So those figures again are the Tories are now on, according to a poll that will be in the new newspapers. And we'll get the papers in a little while and have a quick peek. The Tories are now on 43% and Labour are on 36%, and the Lib Dems are somewhere trailing way in the back there, almost an insignificance. Which is completely the opposite way it was this time last week, which doesn't make any sense to me at all, as though the entire nation has decided, oh, well, of course, David, called me Dave, is now super fantastic, and we want him to, we would follow him through fire. And Ungorgeous Gordon, on the other hand, is a giant dope, and no one loves him anymore, in the space of 7 days. And what has actually happened? Well, nothing, really. David Cameron spoke for an hour without notes. That's it. Gordon lost his temper at Prime Minister's questions, which nobody saw. A lot of people, you know, all the people that are making their living out of discussing Westminster, they all saw it. Nobody else did, because it happens at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, where everybody's, you know, either asleep or at work. So I'm a bit mystified as to what has actually happened here. And I think it's all about what the papers are telling you to do. Or, well, can you explain? I can't get my head around it, really, but it's a complete sea change in people's opinions. Because last week, Labour were going to win if he'd gone to the polls, and he should have done, of course. He's kicking himself now, as indeed are all of his, you know, the backbenchers. They're thinking of kicking him. They wouldn't actually dare to do it. But he would have won. And now he would lose in the space of 7 days. I'm a bit mystified by this.
Polls are just based on people's mood, aren't they? They don't mean anything.
Well, yeah, except that the giant poll is the thing that gets them elected. It's the same thing.
But even that, most people
You're
don't.
very faint, and you're the man that does levels.
I do apologise. I shall crank myself up. But yeah, people don't do a detailed analysis, do they? They just go, that one.
Well, yeah, in exactly the same way that people vote. It's not a detailed analysis. They think, oh, who's that nice man off the telly? And they vote like that.
So if they're in a different mood, they'll give a different answer.
Yeah, but it doesn't make any sense at all to me that people can... that the entire country can change its mind from literally from 1 minute to the next, based on really nothing at all. Because they're still the same people, they're still backed up by the same people. It's not as though the parties have changed or the people that are leading them have changed in any way. They're still all the same crowd.
Well, I don't know. Do you know anyone who's ever been asked to take part in one of these polls?
Well, that's a good... neither that nor any other way of gauging the opinion of the public on anything, no.
Unless, like me, whenever someone comes up to you in the street and says, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
You run a mile.
Yeah, that's actually true, yeah. Yeah. I'll cross the street to avoid them. Unfortunately, on the other side of the street are a lot of people with clipboards who want to take your money and your bank details for the World Wildlife Federation, or whatever the hell it is this week. Like running the gauntlet it is.
They don't want your money.
If you don't get caught by the first one, you'll get caught by the next one.
They don't want your money. Try and give them your money, they won't take it. They only want your bank details.
Yeah.
Not allowed to take your money.
Right.
One came up to me...
I'll pay them some money just to go away.
One came up to me the other day and offered me a credit card. And this is the new thing that they're doing now. They'll say, look, we don't want your money, we just want you to sign up to this credit card so that every time that you spend, we get paid.
Right.
A little fee.
Well, that's a good idea.
By the credit card company. Yeah, but, you know, why would you want another credit card?
Well, how many credit cards have you got?
One. That's all you need.
What?
One.
One?
Yeah.
You've got one credit card and you're asking me why you would want another credit card? Are you out of your mind?
Because, well, it's just there for emergencies. I don't actually use it.
You're very good, aren't you?
Emergencies?
Yeah.
Well,
that's what...
Where do you live? The 1960s? What are you talking about?
That's what a credit card is for. It's for emergencies. It's not your money. For a month. And then you have to... yeah, that's right.
You mean you have to pay that stuff back?
I'm afraid so, yeah.
So you only buy something if you've actually got the cash for it.
Yeah, which is why I'm
dressed like that.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's always been my policy.
You must be the only person on the planet that still does that, at least in the Western world.
Yeah.
Do you have furniture or anything?
Yeah, but, you know, it's taken me quite a few years to save up for it.
So you don't owe anything to anybody?
I think I still owe part of a student loan, and that's it.
Right.
But yeah, that's it. That's all I owe.
Amazing.
But this is why I also can't afford to get on the property ladder.
Right. Well, of course, when you do, eventually, should you be either lucky enough or unfortunate enough, whichever it happens to be at the time, get on the property ladder, then you're going to have debt coming out of you, and not just the mortgage, things that you'll have to buy that you didn't even know existed.
Well, I won't be able to afford the furniture, will I, to go in the new property?
No.
So.
Nor anything else.
All right.
I have enough credit cards to play bridge with. I have so many cards.
You build a house of credit cards.
Yes.
But surely you just need one just for emergencies, you know, like if you go abroad, you know, there are some places that don't accept debit, and so you're going to have to use, you know.
I'd bounce them around. I mean, I just bounce them around. Of course, they've sort of got wise to people like me and start charging you ever-increasing amounts of money to bounce from one 0% deal to another.
So you're a late tart?
Yeah, absolutely.
But... Yeah,
it's just the way you said that.
It's a technical term.
Oh, I see, right. I mean, I did think I know what you were talking about. It's just the look on your face afterwards. How dare you?
But surely, you know, if you have more than one, then it just gets a little bit too confusing because, you know, rates do change, and how can you start, like, keep track of it all?
Well, since the Northern Rock thing, now I'm thinking that I want to split the money that I've got in the bank into different accounts, because they only guarantee up to like 30 grand or something like that.
That's right.
Right. Well, so now I'm going to have to, instead of having it all in one account, I think I've got an account. It's a high interest account in Uganda.
Good luck.
It's not there, but it's in some comically far away place.
Tax haven.
Yeah, something like that.
Monaco.
Then I'm going to have to split it up into lots of different accounts, which is going to be a real pain in the neck to keep my head around.
Yeah.
But what can you do, right?
Well, it's the only thing you can do, I think.
Go and get yourself some more cards. You'll feel better about yourself.
Will I?
You'll feel like a real human being.
All right. Well, I'll go and get me one this weekend, and I'll come to work next week in my Porsche.
Yeah, do that.
All right.
Go and spend like money means nothing.
Okay. Well, I won't be wearing these clothes next week then.
Well, I hope not. No. The Rhonda. Hello, Rob.
Good morning, Mr. Abbott. Hello.
How are you?
Very well. I'm having voice training at the moment, so hopefully my voice will change over the next few weeks.
What do you mean?
I'm having voice training as part of my course to make us all sound professional, BBC-like.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, are you going to work for the BBC?
No, hopefully they're rivals, but we'll see how it goes.
Voice training?
Yeah. Yeah. Some woman who coaches everyone on Radio 4 is coming to teach us all how to speak proper.
Right, I thought you'd left university.
No, I have, and I went back.
Didn't like the thought of the outside world.
Well, I'm watching all my friends struggle to find a job.
Right.
So I'm, you know, this time I'm being paid to go, so it's quite good.
You're being paid?
Yes. I'm being sponsored by someone.
Right. So you're getting a further degree?
Diploma.
Diploma in?
Broadcast journalism.
Media studies?
No, it's very different. This is a proper journalism training place.
Right.
Best in the country.
Oh, yeah, bound to be, yeah. And so what do they teach teach you how to be a journalist? You will just wait for your copy to come off the fax machine and then print it. That's it.
We've got to do the traditional method. We've got to get out, all 30 of us are given a patch. So mine's the Welsh Assembly, and I've got to go and cover that.
Oh, wow, that must be fascinating.
Boring! Shut up. It's my job.
The Welsh Assembly?
It's the best of a bad bunch.
Right.
I like it. It's quite good. You get to know all the gossips going on and how little things are reported. Like little scandalous bits. Like, no.
Well, I suppose that your peers are knocking on people's doors who've just, lost a loved one and ask them how they feel.
Yeah, we've been told by some BBC guys come around to speak to us. He said, one of my first jobs was knocking on someone's house. Actually, knocking on a door that remained of someone's house who's burnt down. And to ask for a picture of the people who died in it.
Well, it's best to knock beforehand.
Be polite! You know, a bit of the left, so thanks to look forward to.
So they're going to try and get you to lose that irritating accent. Huh.
Shut up. No, I haven't. I got to go. Mine starts at the beginning of November because it's by surname, so I'm halfway through.
Right.
And then we got a couple of training sessions, and we're told not to drink milk.
Why not?
Not to smoke.
Not to drink milk.
It produces mucus.
Right. Nice.
Yeah.
But I thought if you smoke, then you've got a deeper voice.
Yeah, I don't know. But apparently, it's all about regional accents these days.
What, you mean the acquisition of one?
It's to get a decent regional accent, wherever you're from, they want to get your regional accent out of you. But
out of you? You mean to get rid of it?
No, to keep it.
Right.
To strengthen it, but in a clearer way.
Huh.
That makes sense. So everyone can understand you and retain your accent.
Because there seems to have been a sea change, because not too long ago, accents were frowned upon. And everybody spoke more or less like me.
Well, a lot of people haven't got accents, yeah.
Me, the Queen, we're indistinguishable.
Gordon Brown?
No, not really, no.
That's a joke.
But then, I think Channel 4 started it. They started putting people with deeply irritating accents on, like that twerp who does The Big Brother. I mean, no, that's a comedy put-on accent. Nobody actually speaks like that, surely.
You hope not.
And then suddenly everybody is talking in an amusing way. You know, in much the same way as you get in your car and you drive up the motorway, and when you got in the car at home, everybody speaks normally. When you get out of the car to get a sandwich and go to the loo, everybody's speaking so bizarrely that you just you're laughing out loud. People are breathalyzing you before you get back in your car.
Well, as part of this course, we got a thing. One of the BBC governors teaches us. Well, he's a trustee now. And he keeps on telling us about new media, and all this jazz, and how everything's revolutionising and all this. So we've all been told now we've all got to get a blog.
Oh.
Yeah, what a pain in the backside. So we've all now got to write... I don't even know what to do. I've started one, but it's really difficult. It's just like an online diary, but...
Yeah, the reason that you stopped writing a diary when you were 12 is because you've got nothing to write. It's boring. Here's a tip, boys and girls. You're wasting your life by, I almost said a bad word, by, dueling around on the internet. Stop doing it. It's just typing.
Oh, you just find yourself nicking everybody else's ideas and sticking there, cutting and pasting. That'll do.
Got up, brushed my teeth, sat down.
Oh, that's been newsworthy. Can't do any old rubbish.
Well, nobody's life is newsworthy unless you're Madonna.
No, it's not about your life. You have to give opinions on the news. It's like a column, I guess, in the paper.
Oh, right.
But just like you've never heard of half people who write columns.
Well, anybody can get a column these days. I mean, Lorraine Kelly's got a column. Did you read her column in the Super Soaraway today?
I missed that one.
All right. Well, after I've had a little chit chat with you, I'll go all over it.
Okay then, and I'll stick to my final topic now.
Yeah, and in closing,
does everyone have a book coming out at the moment? Like everyone.
Like
everyone
who?
Other stations got a book. You know what's there? All the idiots. And I watched Parkinson tonight. This is probably the best book I've ever heard. Michael Winner was advertising his new diet book.
What?
How to Lose Weight with Michael Winner.
Well, I think the How to Lose Weight the Winner way is to get a disease in Barbados and almost die.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody else thought that. Yeah. I've lost 5 stone. Yeah, Mike, you almost died as well. God. Anyway, I'll let you read Lorraine to me now.
All right.
You can send me into a slumber with that.
Okay. Cheers, Rob.
A little bit.
Yeah, Michael Winner. I do find him amusing on the Sunday Times, just because he's like a cartoon character now.
Yeah, but that's what we love about him.
Even more amusing than his column are the letters that sit beside it, calling him, all the names under the sun. and he just gratefully sucks it all up.
He probably doesn't read them, does he?
You tasteless buffoon. You know, it's that sort of thing. I'll maybe read one when, one of the best letters that I saw today. We're going to get the papers, right? Have they come in yet? I'll
go and check them during these ads, I think.
Here is, wait a minute, there's the, this is a letter to the, that silly, help me, please help me page in the Super Soaraway. Dear Deirdre, I have dumped my boyfriend. I've got no idea if she speaks like this, but this is the voice I'll give her. Okay. All right. I've dumped my boyfriend after almost 10 years together because he wouldn't change his name to John Bon Jovi.
What?
That's not real.
I am 25 and I'm still looking for my ideal man. The problem is he has to be the spitting image of my favourite rock star. Hair, eyes, everything. Or it's no good. I plan to move to the US to live in Bon Jovi's hometown. In my mind, I know he's unavailable, but I have to set myself up in some sort of fantasy relationship. I can't seem to stop myself. Deirdre's answer. It may be hard to accept, but John Bon Jovi is unlikely to be yours any day soon. I mean, you'd look properly silly wandering around the streets of this country dressed as John Bon Jovi in his jeans. They're so tight you don't know whether he's inside trying to get out or outside trying to get in. He looks daft from his sprayed-on hair down to his pointy cowboy boots, and that's what you're looking for. Yeah, you do need help.
Nick Abbott. Are you trying to be funny? Because I'm all out of laughs.
Burton-on-Trent. Hello, Aid.
Hello, Nick. How you doing?
I am all right, mate.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention. You was on about credit cards not long ago. I've just got my first one.
Huh.
It's right. The only reason I want it is so I can spend money when I'm on holiday.
Well, if you're going to America, you absolutely have to have a credit card, or they won't let you in the country.
Yeah, nobody has traveller's checks anymore.
No, I don't think so. No.
No, so
I mean, they won't have any idea how to treat somebody who doesn't have a credit card. You will be invisible to them, as though you don't exist.
But how do you tip with a credit card? That's it.
No, well, you got to tip. Well, you got to get a lot of $1 bills, and you got to fold them in 4, and you got to hand them to them thumb first in a closed hand, so that they don't know how much you're giving them.
Yeah, because apparently when my brother and his wife was over there, they forgot to tip one day in the hotel room and they nicked one of the towels.
And it was on fire when they got back. Yeah.
No, but yeah, these New York shows, but with you can queue up for them, can't you, and get them off price?
You can do what now?
You can queue up for them and get them off price, can't you?
Queue up for what?
For a New York show, if you queue up in
right.
Box office.
Yeah, they probably got the same thing that we do here. Yeah.
I've been to the theatre, though, so it's all sort of new to me, but apparently it's a must-do thing for New York.
I think it's crushingly expensive. I think it's even more expensive in New York than it is here. I wouldn't. You go to New York and go to the theatre. Why? I mean, there's so many other things to do, like wander around for a start. It's much cheaper. You could probably get a hooker or two for the money that it would cost for a couple of seats to go and see a show. Not that I would recommend that, of course. I'm just suggesting that, the two might be financially equal.
You get put in prison for that in New York now. It's all clean, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they have made an effort to clean it up, but I think like nature itself, if you wipe it out, it will find a way.
I think it's something like your normal price tickets about $130.
Something outrageous like that, yeah.
Well, how much is it in London then for these?
Same. Yeah, it's about the same.
Half price is, it sounds good, because a lot of them, if you queue, apparently you get 50% off.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to New York and waste an evening sitting down and looking at more or less the same show that you could see here. See it here. You're going to New York, experience New York.
So what would your itinerary be in 3 days then? So if
3 days?
Well, 3 and a bit days.
Well, I would go to see the Museum of Modern Art. I would wander around a lot. I would go up the Empire State Building. You know, you've got to do the tour. If you're only there for 3 days, you've got to do the touristy things. You've got to go to the Museum of Modern Art, you've got to go to the Empire State Building, you've got to wander through Central Park. That's it, really. It's going to take you 3 days to do just that. Where are you staying?
You know, it's a place called Amsterdam Court.
Oh, blimey. Really?
Why? you don't know that, do you?
No, I've got no idea. I've no idea.
It's in the Times Square district.
Right.
So, yeah, but I mean, blimey, this thing, we've been playing this about,
well, you've been banging on about it for so long. I'm amazed you haven't been there and come back already. And still you're talking about, I'm gonna. It's like a teenager about to clean up his room. I'm gonna.
I should get a job in politics.
Yeah, just go.
But, yeah, well, I mean, I'll go in. It's 2 weeks today, but, like I say, like, you think, at first you think, you know, I'll organise, like, the itinerary further down the line. It's ages away, yeah. And suddenly, hello, it's 2 weeks.
Well, make sure that you've got to tell them before you come, haven't you? Don't you have to alert the authorities over there before you get there? Don't you have to get some sort of, do you need a visa anymore?
I think you fill them in on the plane when you land in.
You think?
Well, that's what I did last time. I say when I went to Vegas, it was 6 years ago. So
right, things have changed since then. I would do some more detailed checking if I were you, because it'd be very disappointing to fly all the way there only to be turned all the way back.
Yeah, especially as soon as we've actually got on the plane.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because you're taking your life in your hands doing that. Just
exactly.
That,
yes. With all manner of things, deep vein thrombosis. You could get poisoned by the C. difficile that's in the toilet on the plane. You could get bored to death by the in-flight movie.
Well, I'm taking the MP3 player. Yeah, the in-flight movie, by the way, is The Simpsons, apparently.
Oh, The Simpsons. That's great.
Boring. I mean, why an airline company is tell you what films are going to be on?
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
Because,
I mean, if here's an old joke. If they were showing The Simpsons as an in-flight movie, if I was on a plane, I'd walk out.
Yeah. And I've heard about your completely changing subjects altogether. Have you heard about the new Big Brother spin-off, unfortunately?
Oh, I'm not remotely interested. What is it?
Apparently, it's going to be one that splits like celebrities, so-called, with ordinary people.
All right. Well, I'd be interested if they were splitting them with an axe, but not in any other way. Big Brother is over.
Who's going to tackle the difference?
I have no idea. I don't care anymore. I've tried to wean myself off rubbish television, quite successfully so far. I haven't watched any of the X Factor, although I will watch when Michael... I can't believe... I very much doubt that they're going to get Michael Jackson to show up on the X Factor. That's what they're saying. I'll believe it when I see it, because he's... I mean, don't you just want to watch it to see what'll happen? He's going to manage the some of the singers, yeah, with both hands, I bet.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've it's coming to the point at which I have to say goodbye. All right.
Yeah.
But the best of luck. Next week you'll probably call me up and still be telling me that you're gonna go. Just go.
I will, and if I get a chance, I will finish from New York, but definitely from Vegas. So
all right, okay.
I can tell you how warm it is, and...
Yeah, I'll appreciate that. Thanks very much. Cheers, mate.
Thanks a lot.
Ta-ta. I hope it's freezing cold and raining, because the one thing that you want when you go away is for the weather here to be terrible when you get back, and vice versa. If anybody that you know goes away, you want them to be frozen to death.
My grandson tells me that I must get.
Anybody care what this guy thinks?
No!
So here's a Lorraine Kelly column in The Sun today. Is there a single person that you've ever heard of that doesn't have a column? Everybody's got a column these days.
How do they fit them all in?
I don't know. Isn't it amazing how the newspapers have exactly the right amount of news to fill all of the pages that they've got? There's never any gaps.
Perfect.
Don't you find that incredible?
Mm-hmm.
That they find exactly the right amount of news to fill all of the space every day. Amazing. How coincidental is that? Anyway, Lorraine is banging on about this, that and the other. Kylie Minogue. Oh, God. Kylie Minogue. Well, seriously, people, can we stop going on about Kylie Minogue? She can't sing, she can't dance. What can she do? She's not remotely interesting. She's like Madonna Light. It's music for 12-year-olds. Stop going on about Kylie Minogue. I mean it.
That's what she does successfully, though.
What, music for 12-year-olds? Yeah, but adults are listening to this rubbish.
Well, you know, adults like...
Kylie Minogue is incapable of hitting a bum note, says Lorraine. She thought she was too old to flash her booty anymore, but she's in better shape than ever, and that peach-like derriere is as taut and sassy as a teenager. She's talking about her bum. As though it's astonishing that somebody who flashes her bum for a living would have been to the gym once in a while. Well, that's what she does, right?
Yeah, you'd keep it toned, wouldn't you?
And then she's banging on about... now, I love Lorraine Kelly. I absolutely, flat-out love Lorraine Kelly, don't I? Yeah, I do.
She can't do anything wrong, can she?
Yes, she can.
Oh.
She's going on about Sven-Göran Eriksson. You know, Sven was this week on the front page of The Sun. I think it was Sven and Mrs. Skip Hire. I think that was the headline.
Right.
Do you care about Sven-Göran Eriksson's sex life?
No.
I bet even the women he's having sex with don't care about Sven-Göran Eriksson's sex life. I mean, how boring could you possibly get? Sven! Who cares?
He's old news.
Yeah, he's old. He's not news.
No, right.
She says he's actually doing a good job at Manchester City, but if he remains true to form, his ability as a coach will decline in proportion to his extracurricular activities as a womanizer. The more he cheats, the worse his team will do.
What?
How does she work that out? What, the team are going to start playing worse because he's having sex with someone who isn't his current girlfriend? Because they'll be, what, so upset that he's cheating? I mean, that's just a ridiculous thing to say. Which is, you know, this is the nature of columns. You're given a page, and you've got all of that to fill.
Mm-hmm.
And there aren't enough thoughts in your head to fill it, so you just can't start coming out with rubbish. The other guy who's got the major column in the Sun is Jeremy Clarkson, who I think is one of the funniest writers over the short course in the country at the moment. I would put him not as good as, but certainly in the same category as A.A. Gill and Craig Brown, people like that. And he's struggling to fill his Sun column as well. Last week's was a bit weak. I mean, he's just kind of doing the same thing over and over and over. It's like pretending or taking the position of someone who is deeply politically correct and against the ruling orthodoxy, just in order to just in order to create this sort of cartoon character.
Yeah, what it seems, though, that anyone with a column seems to always pick the stories that feature in that paper they're in.
Yeah,
Have you noticed that?
But often they do question the validity of those stories. Like Lorraine is saying, who cares about this man, and we shouldn't even be talking about him. But hers is the paper that's bringing it up all the time. Look, you'll often see that. They'll berate newspapers in general for reporting such rubbish, and yet the paper that they're writing for is the one that's doing it, as though they don't actually read the paper that they write for.
Well,
I mean, that would be as bad as, oh, never mind. So, and the other thing she talks about is Posh Spice. Now, the Diana inquiry was in Paris this week, right?
Yes.
So was Posh Spice. This is what she says. I don't think even Posh Spice is so publicity hungry that she would all but gate crash the Princess Di inquest jury to visit Paris. However, when she realised the clash of dates and locations with the proceedings and her bizarre photo shoot, she should have taken herself off shopping for another designer bag, or even better, a slap-up meal at a top Paris restaurant. It was utterly surreal to see pictures of Posh looking like a heavily made-up scrawny Red Sparrow alongside sombre-faced jurors and court officials trying to get the truth about what happened to Diana. Well, Paris is a very big place. It's as big as London. 10 million people live in Paris. The fact that they were photographed or their photographs appeared side by side was not because they were actually standing side by side. It's that the Sun newspaper bought them and printed them side by side. Lorraine.
Oh, poor Lorraine.
I know. Do you get it now?
Hello.
But I just thought, you know,
it's well. How often does she write her column? Once a week.
Once a week.
You know, and you know she's a busy lady. You know, it's she's hard to come up with stuff, isn't it?
Well, she must be getting at least 100 grand for that one page.
But you know, money like that can make your mind go blank sometimes, can't it?
As can no money at all. Isn't that right, Jethro?
Sorry, my mind's gone blank.
Blank, yeah.
You shouldn't rub in my poverty all the time.
Do what?
My poverty. You're always knocking me for my poverty.
I've got no idea how much money you've got.
Well, not an amazing amount. Otherwise, I'll be going out on a Saturday evening, wouldn't I?
Well, no, I think after a certain age, you just can't be bothered anymore.
That is true. That is true.
I mean, once you've given up the hope of ever having sex again, you just want to sit in with a nice cup of something.
Yeah. Well, my celibacy is not enforced by the lack of connections or possibilities. It's just that I've taken
enforced by your face, yeah.
Very spiritual faith, yes. Exactly. Anyway, Lorraine Kelly. What links Lorraine Kelly, Andrew Neil, Alex Ferguson, and our current Prime Minister?
I'm glad that you mentioned Andrew Neil, by the way. I saw a programme, all right, before I go off on one, let me ask you a question.
I've asked you a question.
Yeah, well, let me ask you one.
Okay.
What's the answer to that question you just asked me?
It's that they're all Caledonians.
Right.
And I just wanted to try and emphasise the fact that not only in our government have we got a disproportionate amount of Caledonians who've come south to make a fortune in this great land of ours, but also the media is somewhat disproportionately, I think, peopled with and populated by the barbarians from across the border.
Interesting, the map that they gave us in the papers this week about the makeup of the cabinet and where they are from, and it's almost all towards the north of the United Kingdom. Much of them, as you say, coming from Scotland.
Yeah, I saw that. I think of the current Labour government,
2 are from down here.
South, yeah. Harriet Harman from London. Well, this is the constituencies that they so-called represent.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever actually got... You know,
some of them haven't even visited them. I couldn't place them on a map.
Yeah, the Harriet Harman's from somewhere in East London, I think, and there's Hutton, I think it is, from Southampton.
Right.
I think it's Hutton, who talks very smoothly, very adeptly, and manages not to answer, like all of them, not to answer any question.
A single question put to them, right.
Yeah.
Talking of Andrew Neil, by the way, is there a single person on television that's more irritating than him? I saw a programme, it's the first time I've seen it, it's called This Week. It's with
Abbott and
Michael Portillo and Diane Abbott. Michael Portillo and Diane Abbott were excellent. They had Tony Blackburn on. He was good. Andrew Neil, on the other hand, somebody has given this man the impression that he is funny, and it was the second most embarrassing thing I saw on television this week. The most embarrassing being Prime Minister's Questions. Andrew Neil trying to be funny, not just once, but as though he's like a comic. Over and over again during the course of this programme, he was under the wildly misguided impression that he's actually amusing. And he just did not stop. Somebody, please, rip the microphone off that man and show him the exit. He was awful.
But not as awful as Gordon Brown was at question time, was he?
No, like I said, second most embarrassing thing I've seen this week. Please, please, someone, anyone, grab a hold of Andrew Neil and show him the door. It was just shocking.
Well, he's an established figure on that programme now, that's no problem. It's a bit of a tripartite kind of act going on.
Well, it's no kind of act that anybody in their right minds would want to see. Michael Portillo and Diane Abbott, I have no problems with them at all. But Andrew Neil, that was. I think it's one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen on television. That man under the impression that he's funny. Andrew, you're not funny.
Oh dear, you just ruined his career now. That's the end of it. Top man from the BBC will be on the phone. Andrew, although you were editor of the Scotsman, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's an editor. He's not a comedian.
All right, okay.
But the way he presented it, it was like a child that walked into an adult's party and was doing his little amusing trick, and the adults were accommodating him for a little while, and then it just got a bit, this is getting embarrassing, why don't you send him to bed? Please, someone send Andrew to bed.
Oh, dear. Timing, was it timing? Was it delivery? Was it...
Everything. Content, material, timing, delivery, every single thing was wrong, yeah. I mean, some people are funny, some people are not.
Gordon Brown is definitely not funny.
Not funny, no.
He's not a natural performer on the House of the Commons floor, is he? And when you compare him to how Blair was, he comes off very, very badly, doesn't he?
Almost everybody comes off badly compared to Blair, because he was smooth personified. He was made of Teflon. Nothing stuck to that man.
I know.
No matter what you threw at him, he could always just bat it away as though it were as though there were ping pong balls coming at him.
Or yeah, that's an interesting analogy. Yeah, I was going to say soft jelly or something, but ping pong balls are probably better actually.
Yeah, you can't bat soft jelly. It goes straight through the racket.
Oh, you just ruined another. Why do you always put me down? It's awful. I don't know why. Anyway, don't worry. Yes, yes, but listen. Did you? Alistair Darling is another one, isn't he? Look.
Alistair Darling. I can't take anybody seriously who's called Darling. I'm sorry, I just can't. Neither can I take anyone seriously who's called Ed Balls.
The problem with Darling is he's got a monotonous voice, isn't he? I mean, it's even duller than mine.
No.
He's got, yes, it's true.
I won't have that.
It's true. and it's got a hairstyle that doesn't look like it's real. Looks like it's out of a Star Trek movie.
Yeah, it looks like it's been painted on.
Yeah. And then he does this delivery, and you know that the speech has probably been written, at least overseen by Gordon. Gordon would have said, oh, well,
overseen? There's not a single word that man says that Gordon didn't write down in longhand.
Yeah. And then the thing that I heard today, by listening to another programme, was that the 3.6 billion that they so-called given back to all these house owners that have built up, their houses for years and years and years of hard work, and they want to quite naturally, quite justifiably pass it on to their children.
Yeah.
The 3.6 billion that they've given away in an attempt to steal the Tory clothes, it's all it is a shift of taxation burden from inheritance tax to council tax. Our council taxes will be going up because of the government's lack of central funding to the local authorities. And all they've done is do the classic Gordon Brown thing, which is to present a new policy as if it's a gift to us.
Give it with one hand, and then crush your testicles with the other. Yeah.
Which is what he did. Do you remember when he did that announcement of reducing the lowest rate of taxation on income tax? And what he did that, all he did it was by banning the 10p in the pound rate or something. He's just a magician.
Obfuscation and mendacity.
Mendacity, exactly. But anyway, perhaps finally people begin to see through him a little bit and realise that the Tory toff from Eton and Oxford and Newbury stockbroker belt will actually...
yeah, they're starting to look not so bad. Well, if the poll in the papers, if we ever get the papers, are we going to get the papers? We are? You're nodding your head now. Well, where are they?
I'm going to get a call as soon as they're in.
All right, so we might not get the papers. We've only got 15 minutes left. But, according to, I think there's a Telegraph today, Tories are now on 43%, Labour's on 36%. So, it's a complete reversal. In fact, it's more than a reversal of of this time last week. And it seems that the only difference is that people actually listened to David Cameron, to listen to what he said. Plus, David Cameron stopped spouting a lot of muesli knitting, tree hugging garbage from Zach Crazy Name Goldsmith.
Yeah, they're slightly elitist bunch, though, aren't they? I must admit that.
All politicians are elitist. They're all earning six-figure salaries. They've all got 3 homes. They're all got their wives doing their secretary work for them, so they can pocket another 10 or 20 grand. They're all elitist. Some of them pretend not to be. They all are.
I think there's truth in what you say there. Can I just quickly switch to the Big Apple?
Okay.
Because did you know that he was at some point called New Amsterdam? And we bought it off of a guy called Peter Stuyvesant. I think it's true to say that. The British bought it from the Dutchman Peter Stuyvesant, and we renamed it New York. That's a bit boring history, but I'm surprised you didn't say when you went there you want to go to Greenwich Village, which is, I always thought, the sort of trendy, creative media, creative, artistic type place to be.
It's such a long time since I've been that I really have got no idea what's where anymore.
All right. And when you want to go see Woody Allen perform, doesn't he perform weekly in a jazz club down there?
Well, let me think about that for a second.
No.
No.
He doesn't?
No, I wouldn't want to go and see him.
Oh, I see, right.
I wouldn't want to go and see anything that Woody Allen does anymore, because he's another... He should to team up with Andrew Neil. That'd be a double act with two straight men.
Oh, I like Woody Allen.
I liked Woody Allen, past tense. Now, not so much.
Okay. Well, it must be the music. Isn't there a decent? Well, hang on, what about? Isn't there a decent music sound coming out of New York nowadays? Is it too hip hop trendy, breaking down into such minutiae of genre that no one really understands what anyone's going about? Garage. I never understood garage. I always thought garage was a place where you parked your car, especially if you hadn't paid the tax like I haven't. So you keep your car in the garage, keep the money from going to the government. But garage apparently is a subgenre of hip hop or acid house or something. I don't understand these things anymore.
That was a sentence of about 150 words, all of which amounted to, is there good music in New York?
Yes, exactly.
Good grief, man.
In fact, you could have done, if you could be a teacher, because you could have done a great big red mark all around this and say all these words are unnecessary. You could summarise it in 2 words.
Exactly. And in the margin, I'd put see me.
Sunday Night Live.
Here's one from New York. It's a bloke called Julian. Julian?
Hey, Nick, how are you doing?
I'm all right, thanks.
Good, glad to hear it. Hey, just addressing the point that your last caller made, Woody Allen used to play at a club on the East Village called CBGB, but that actually closed down about 1.5 years ago.
Woody Allen? I thought he played at the Russian tea rooms.
No, well, the Russian tea rooms were just redone, but they're still there. No, I think he used to play at CBGB, but it's...
CBGB's, that was a punk club of old.
There was, but I think he also used to play there. I think Blondie got their start at CB.
Yeah, as did Richard Hell, the Voidoids, I would guess, and the Ramones, and, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I could be mistaken, but I thought that's where he used to play. But I digress.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to call in just to allay some of the AIDS fears, and we've been discussing where he should hop onto in Manhattan when he's around.
Right.
He should definitely go down to Greenwich Village just to check out the boutiques there in the scene.
The boutiques? I can't really see Aid in a boutique.
I don't know. Maybe for some lech value, he might find it interesting.
Okay. So, so Greenwich Village, that would be our Soho, right?
Yeah. Even though we do have somewhere called Soho.
Yes, confusingly, south of Houston, right?
Oh no, you can't say Houston. You have to say Houston.
Well, there's no amount of money that is available to make me say Houston. You just can't do it. It's Houston.
Okay. Well, you wouldn't just fit in here then, Nick. I'm afraid.
For that and many other reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you were mentioning Madonna several times during the show.
Madonna, yeah.
Madonna, I actually bumped into her at my gym on Wednesday.
Like you do.
Like you do, yes.
You bumped into Madonna at your gym.
Yes, I know. Well, I didn't want to name drop, but I did see that they have some pictures on the web of her outside the gym, so I don't think they'd disbar me if I mentioned it.
Now, when you say you bumped into her, what you mean is that you didn't get within 20 feet, right?
Yeah, I think it's the 3 bodyguards that really put me off.
She came with 3 bodyguards?
And a personal assistant.
Right. And a personal trainer, I guess?
No, I don't think the person was really training much, though she was wearing her iPod at the same time, so...
Well, what was she wearing?
She was wearing a very nice, she was wearing most of the time a jumpsuit.
I wouldn't think that Madonna would actually show up at a gym ever, because you wouldn't want to be as famous and old as her to be sweating in public, would you? Because people, when they sweat, they don't look their best.
No, but there's no cameras allowed in the gym.
Well, that's what Princess Di thought, and she was snapped famously from right above the leg press machine. I mean, every mobile phone is a camera these days.
Yeah, they're very strict about the mobile phones at the gym. They're patrols.
Right. But was she actually doing any exercise? Was she just
she was
eating a muffin?
Cardio.
Huh. Like what? What was she doing?
She was on the running machine that I saw, and I think she went off to one of the ellipticals afterwards.
What's an elliptical?
I just only had a squiz round and then went back to my workout. There's a lot of celebs that go to the gym.
Right.
Usually they don't bring a whole entourage with them.
Was she wearing makeup?
You know what? I think she was, because she got snapped outside, so I'm pretty sure she was wearing some makeup.
Well, doesn't that melt off your face when you start to sweat?
Well, no, and I don't think she was going hard at it, but I don't think she was that sweaty. I mean, I have to say the gym's the sort of place where you do see women walking around with their Prada bags and full makeup on, and you do wonder what they're actually there for.
Yeah, a chat.
Chat and snare a husband.
So was she wearing jewellery?
You know, I didn't get that close look. I think her top was sort of pulled up a bit.
Right, so we started with I bumped into Madonna to I was nowhere near her. She was in a different postcode.
No, she was on the same floor. I walked past the bodyguards who were very intent on not letting anybody near her.
Right, well, I bumped into Madonna just the other day. She was in London just as I was. Yeah, we were that close.
Yeah, it was 10 feet away at the most.
Right. Okay, so they should wander around Greenwich Village. What else?
What else should you do? I should take the Circle Line tour on...
Oh, that's right. Of course, that's very important. Get on the boat and go out into Staten Island, right? And then you get to see New York from afar, which is the very best place to see it from. Space would be a good idea.
Yeah, why are you so down on New York, Nick?
No, I like it. I like it a lot. But look, when I was there last, it was for 2 days in January. It was the coldest place I've ever been in my life, so I couldn't really get into it because I was being repelled by the temperature so much. Previous to that, it was in the 70s, 1978, 79, when it was still this tremendously exciting, awfully dangerous and thrilling place to be, and I believe that element of New York has been wiped out.
Well, I wouldn't say that, Nick, because a friend of mine just got mugged on 96th Street.
Oh, right, well...
At gunpoint, so, you know, even though we have the broken windows policy over here in Manhattan, it's still some violence around.
Okay, great. Well, maybe he won't come back alive.
Oh, don't wish that on him.
I'm not wishing it, it's just, you know, it's true. If you survive the flight aid, you might not survive the actual visit.
Oh, come on, I catch the subway at 2 in the morning, and it's absolutely no problem.
Right.
You don't sound convinced, do you?
No, I'm not. I wouldn't catch the tube here at 2 o'clock in the morning. Never mind about New York.
Down at midday or midnight.
Right. Okay. Well, listen. Thanks for the news. And as soon as you don't bump into any other celebrities, you let us know. All right.
I will certainly do that, Nick.
Thanks a lot, Julian.
Take care.
Ta-da. So, no papers, eh? That's a bit disappointing.
No. Maybe they're still printing.
Maybe there's no news.
Oh, yeah, that's right. All the papers have been cancelled. They're just going to send out the free CDs.
Wouldn't it be great if they just decided to have a day where we'll have a day off today?
Yeah.
We're not going to print.
24 shut down.
Yeah.
Wasn't it, isn't it, it's probably not the case now, but I think they used to in Norway or Sweden, someplace like that, they shut television down for a day. They picked a day of the week, say Thursday, and in order to make people think more, or, you know, pick up a book and read once in a while, or to have hot 6-foot blonde sex with each other, they switched television off.
What, and the television channels agreed to this?
All blank, yeah.
Wow. That would never happen here.
Ever. Good.
Yeah.
What would we do? I'd be sitting there staring at the blank screen.
Yeah, would you be forced to...
I could do that for several hours, I bet.
What, look at the blank screen?
Yeah.
What, just imagining what you're going to watch?
Yes, that's right.
When it comes back on?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Stare at the fuzz and look for patterns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't you be forced to go outside and enjoy the air?
Actually, it's been absolutely lovely lately, hasn't it? It's been super fantastic lately. Bizarrely, weirdly great. Al Gore is looking into it right now.
Even when it rains, it's warm.
Yeah, that's right. Even when it rains, it's... Oh, I feel a song coming on. But I can't remember what it is. Even when it rains, it pours. Even when it pours, it something.
Yeah.
Everybody...
Give us a clue.
This is Nigella Lawson. You know Nigella Lawson, don't you?
Oh, yeah, she's,
Yeah. Telly dish Nigella Lawson has posed for a saucy picture in a dress made of tinfoil.
Genius.
And served up some sizzling sex secrets, says The Observer. Oh, no, hang on, that's The Sun. She says, stockings never fail to make you feel sexy. Men like the whole strappy thing of suspenders, so I'll wear them. I have actually worn them with nothing but a pair of shoes in bed. Asked what turns her on, she says, hairiness. I like an animal. Hairy back, hairy everywhere. If I was going to go for someone smooth, I may as well be a lesbian. Chelsea fan Nigella adds, I love the English boys in the team. I only have to hear John Terry and Frank Lampard talk and I swoon. Buxom Nigella wrapped herself in her foil outfit for the November issue of Men's Mag Esquire. She said, I loved it. It felt very sexy. Baco foil, oh me, big time. But the star of the new BBC Two series, Nigella Express, added that she wanted to escape from her blow-up sex doll image.
What?
So please disregard everything that she said just before that. Oh, come on, Nigella, who are you kidding? She's going to be making some sausage surprise for her first show. Right, I'm Nick Abbott. I'm going to be back next Saturday. All going well, at 10. Who's next?
Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis is next, and everything is right with the world. Have a good one. Ta-ta.